All right, we are now live. For whatever reason, my internet appears to be kind of shit tonight, so I'm hoping to work out any technical difficulties, assuming there are any. I'm going to assume there are. But give me a second here to make sure this is linked out to all you people, and we will then begin. And I actually have quite a few articles to get through, and I don't really want to stay up all night because I also have a report I got to finish, so I can't stay up all night and just fuck around. Uh, but I suppose I will start this stream by reminding anyone listening to this who is a recent subscriber that if you are having any problems following me on YouTube, which there have been people that have contacted me and said, Louis, I'm having problems following you. Your streams don't pop up, your videos don't pop up, etc. Feel free to, subscribe to me on YouTube if you already aren't, and click the bell, apparently, that notifies you directly when I have uploaded a video in case it doesn't show up in your subscription feed, which actually has happened to me on other channels. I have had it happen before where other people's videos haven't shown up, and I found them on the home page, and I was actually surprised by that. I was like, whoa, I didn't actually see this, and it took it another day to actually show up on the subscription feed. So I just thought I would mention that in case anyone is unaware. But and if you don't want to do that, you can follow me on Twitter, which is linked in the description of this video and every video. You can follow me on Gab. If you aren't already, you can follow me there. You can follow me on Facebook, which very few people do, and that's not too surprising because fuck Facebook. But if you are on Facebook, you can follow me there, and I post everything that I upload with the exceptions of these streams. Maybe I should start doing that, linking them on Facebook maybe. But in any case, I just thought I would start out with that information just because it pays to do so. People don't really do things unless they're pressured to do it. So be sure to subscribe and follow me on all the social media and like all my posts and inflate my fucking ego, and beyond everything else, support me on Patreon. Okay, the only way I'm able to afford this fucking imported Stoli vodka is if you fucking give me some fucking money, okay? And that is very much gonna appear tonight because I'm on my second glass of orange juice and Stoli vodka, which I want to name something different because it appears to be stronger than just your average screwdriver. Stoli vodka is very fucking strong. It doesn't have it doesn't have like that kind of weird wheat taste that Polish vodka that I was drinking before. It doesn't have that. It just has a very strong taste because it's very strong. I forget what the joke is. It might have been a Chappelle Show joke. Yeah, it actually was. It was it Sam Adams? Yeah, no, Sam Jackson. Beer, it'll get you drunk quick. Be fucking fat girls and fight niggas in no time. That's Stoli vodka, man. Holy shit. It's strong stuff. But in any case, maybe we can actually get to some articles. And I got some fucking beauties here for you. Okay. Some serious fucking beauties. I guess maybe I'll start up front where I got some fucking retards sending me shit still on Twitter. And I'm not going to make a big deal about this because I don't care, because fuck the Young Turks. Fuck anyone that works there. The Young Turks are a joke, and they're treated as a joke for a reason. They're so fucking disingenuous. So are any of their fucking limp dick, just basic bitch, low T fucking Democrat loyalist followers. You people are pathetic. The progressive movement is dead. It's coming close to losing full propulsion and being in nothing but a nosedive. You people are going to wake up to the day that people like me are basically, you're looking to us for mercy and assistance, and people like myself are going to allow you to die because, and I don't mean that in the literal sense, I mean that in the political sense. that there will come a day where the progressives are almost entirely out of power or are being oppressed in a general sense. The tactics that they've used against others will have been turned against them. And my fear is that I'll be wrapped up in that by those wielding those tactics. That's my real fear. But as it relates to the progressives, you will not have my support. You will be trampled upon, and I will not defend you. I will laugh as you are oppressed, because you are the reason why the modern left in America is dead and out of power. You are disgusting hypocrites. You have no principles, and you are the reason for your inevitable downfall. It will be because of you, not because of me or anyone else. It'll be because of you. So, with that said, the Young Turks treat race as a lens that they view all subject matter. Every topic that could possibly come up is treated through the lens of race. And so when someone makes a joke to that extent, and I say, by the way, you believe this, and you're a progressive and a fucking loser, and you view everything through race, and you say, oh, well, that was a joke. It's like, yeah, I get that you think this is a joke, but it's what you actually believe, you fucking numbskull. You actually believe this. And it's said constantly on your show. Every time there's a mass shooting, like in Vegas, where we don't know the fucking motivation, you scream and bitch that it's not labeled terrorism, despite the fact that the definition of terrorism distinctly involves motive. It inherently involves motive. In order for someone to be a terrorist, you need to know their motive. If they're screaming Allahu Akbar, you get an idea of why they're doing what they're doing. It's very easy to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And with the Vegas shooter, we don't know. So any kind of quote-unquote white mass shooter that commits a mass shooting and we don't know why they did anything, then if you say it's terrorism, well, no, it isn't. Because we don't know their fucking motive. If it's Dylan Roof shooting up a black church because there's a white supremacist, yeah, that's terrorism. If it's the fucking the guy in Charlottesville running his car into a crowd, well, it may be in part because the guy was allegedly schizophrenic, but it may be because of politics. That may have been the reason why he did what he did. And I know that everyone wants to label, Fatso Heather Heyer when she fell down and had a heart attack and died. That is, being a victim of domestic terrorism. If you want to call it that, fine. I don't even give a shit. I'll give you that. But if you want to make this about race, motherfuckers, then fine. Let's make this about race. And I'm just gonna do the video. Maybe that's what I'll work on tomorrow. I haven't decided yet, but I'm just gonna eventually go through every single fucking police assassination that has happened in this country. And guess what? Every single fucking time, with the exception of I think twice, one of which was in 1984, it's been a black man that's done it. It's been a black identity extremist that has assassinated cops, including plenty of cops in numerous instances that were not white. You're not some vigilante out there taking out dirty cops. You're killing cops without any motivation whatsoever to target them, and that includes non-white cops. And there's also studies that have come out that say that black cops happen to be a lot worse on the issue of being too trigger happy. That's an issue with black cops statistically. They're too trigger happy. So when you want to talk about who's pulling the trigger, how many black people are dying and all the rest, it's like, okay, how many of the black people are dying are criminals? How many of the people pulling the trigger are black themselves? And as it relates to the white mass shooters, what is the connecting feature? It's not politics. It's not religion. It's not ideology. It's nothing. There's nothing connecting all these different mass shooters outside of bizarre nihilistic rage and maybe some mental health issues. Whereas with Muslims, regardless of whether they're from Uzbekistan or wherever the fuck, they all have one thing in common. One thing. And there's no negotiation in it. Every single fucking time there is a Muslim killing people, it is for one reason. On a why, more than just in a domestic dispute or some shit like that. I mean, when it reaches the national stage because it's a national news story, because it's another terror attack. It's Muslims acting on the direct outcome of their religious doctrine. The second you can say the same for white males is when I'll take you fucking seriously. But otherwise, you're just race baiting, and you're acting as a disingenuous demagogue and covering for religious extremism in the country, which I don't like because I'm an atheist. You know, apparently like the fucking shooter today or fucking yesterday, whenever it was. You know, I don't want to see this country influenced by religious extremists and under the thumb of religious extremists. And that includes Muslims that are waltzing into this nation under diversity visas and assassinating people, running down people because Allahu Akbar and I want to go to fucking Valhalla. I have my fucking pipe dream about a fucking afterlife. So I don't really want to get too much more into religion because, you know, like I made the joke on Twitter about tipping my fedora and all that, you know, in response, as a joke in response to the shooting, because it's one of the things where it's like, it's alleged that the shooter was an atheist. I haven't seen the social media post that he allegedly made, but assuming that he did make them and he is an atheist, when that happens, what you don't want to do is be a useful fucking idiot for the people that want to make it a narrative. Paul Joseph Watson at first made it into a narrative, but then released a video about the shooting where he pulled back. Even though he mentioned atheism, he pulled back. And I can appreciate that. I think that's when Paul Joseph Watson is at his finest, where he could easily take the bait, as I have already seen conservatives do in this case, and just say, oh, well, this is the issue of godlessness in America. You know, like the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro did about video games after the Vegas shooting. 3 articles that I'm just waiting to drop at some point where they talk about video games as being a catalyst for shootings in America. And it's like, yep, well, there you go, retrograde right. I appreciate that Paul Joseph Watson started to fall down that onto that narrative, onto that easy means to demagogue an issue, and he pulled back. So thanks to Paul Joseph Watson for pulling back. And not descending to fucking Ben Shapiro level of being a disingenuous, regressive right dickhead. Or retrograde right, rather. But I think that's enough about that shooting. Actually, I didn't even mean to talk about the thing that happened in Manhattan. I was going to save that. That was one of the other things that I'm deliberating doing a video on. Because there's actually a decent thing there to talk about because of the responses. As I've said already, they actually, as I did in that one video I did about it, they were just so bad. The responses to that terror attack were so fucking ridiculous. But we'll move on to the actual articles that I got tonight, and we'll start with an actual news story. And I'm debating how I want to go through these videos, or these articles rather. But we'll start with a more serious one, and we'll see how it goes from there. So Donna Brazil is trying to sell some copies of a book that she's going to be publishing. And the first chapter in the book is actually dedicated to the fact that when what's-her-face, the shitty congresswoman from Florida, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when she stepped down as the chair of the DNC after she was embarrassed and disgraced, and I can't even remember why, but she was shown to be a Hillary Clinton shill, and she stepped down. So Donna Brazil, who actually led the party, and I remember this, she actually led the party before, she was brought back in as the interim chair, which eventually she was replaced by Tom Perez, who was another Clinton shill. He was the labor secretary under Barack Obama, and he is a beta toady of corporations, just weakling fuckface, who is just he's there to fill a seat. You know what I mean? He's an empty suit there to fill a seat. And one of the things about Tom Perez is that he didn't have the support of the labor unions. And that begs the question. You're the labor secretary for Barack Obama. You're about to be brought in as the DNC chair, and you're not supported by the unions. What does that tell you about who you are as a person when you're labor secretary, right? So, but anyways, to the point of this topic, Donna Brazile talks about in her book that she saw firsthand and has evidence to say that Hillary Clinton's campaign had direct power over the DNC in a number of ways, including fundraising, how where those funds went, how they were used, communications, and a few other things that I actually don't think are listed in this short article. This isn't too good of an article. I probably should have saved the Daily Wire article I had, but she exposed the fact that the party itself was working with Hillary Clinton's campaign since 2015, and not in a indirect way. This was not a matter of staffers and employees of the Democratic National Committee having clear alliances because of cronyism and selective hiring and all the rest that we can see in entities that aren't directly corrupt, but are they have a bad culture. It wasn't that. It definitely would exist regardless of the corruption or not, but it was way beyond that, because the party itself, according to Brazile, was bankrupt, effectively bankrupt, because Barack Obama failed to actually fundraise enough for the party itself as he was in office. And the party, it's in terms of the infrastructure of it, for whatever reason, was never downsized after the second presidential election. When Obama was reelected, he never downsized the party, which is very alarming for any entity that wants to stay afloat. Is after the campaign ends, you have to shrink. You have to lay off people. You have to get rid of consultants and all that shit. You stop paying them. You have to cut them loose until the next cycle. That's how politics works. It works in cycles. There's not an election that's worth that amount of money every single year. But for whatever reason, coincidentally, you can say, Barack Obama kept it big and the party ran out of money. And you could speculate whether this was on accident or on purpose. The party was desperate for money. It turned to the Hillary Clinton campaign. The Hillary Clinton campaign said, yes, we'll directly financially support you, but we expect these different things in return. You can decide whether that was an accident or very much in the interest of Hillary Clinton. If any of you have watched Game of Thrones, you probably have the idea of, how this actually does work in favor of Hillary Clinton to bankrupt an entity and then have them dependent on you completely for income. And that was the case. And it was in writing. This was not just an agreement, unspoken. This was actually written and signed. Which is an obvious conflict of interest when you're talking about holding a primary for who should become the presidential candidate for your party. It's obviously going to be biased in favor of the campaign that's directly financially supporting it, keeping it in business, keeping the lights on, keeping everyone employed. That bias is going to be inherent. There's no way to say otherwise. So this is direct confirmation, in my opinion, and many, many, many people, including many progressives and Bernie supporters, have accepted this as well, as clear confirmation from someone that ran the party that the party itself was operating in keeping Hillary Clinton as the primary candidate and trying to eradicate Bernie Sanders, whether it was just him as the primary candidate or his influence within the party. I would say that people that say that are very much correct, that they are correct, and this is one of the big divides the party currently has, and there's no way to skirt this issue anymore. This is something the party needs to address, and until they do, they're going to be failing as a party. And we're going to see the responses to this in a second. A big one is from Elizabeth Warren, who has actually fallen out of the good graces of many progressives. She was actually seen as like the proto-Bernie Sanders. She was very, very well regarded by progressives up until this last election. She lost a lot of credibility from progressives because of her actions. And to have her come out and say full-throatedly that this was corruption, that this was wrong, this was the problem, that the process was effectively rigged against Bernie Sanders. She never said he was cheated out, I don't believe, but she did say it was rigged against him, and that basically it was already rendered out that Hillary Clinton was going to be the candidate, and the party was effectively doing everything possible to achieve that end. And that is what appears to be what happened. So for her to say that is a big deal because she's very influential at this point within the party. She campaigned with Hillary Clinton. She got in good with the Clintonites, and they're really pissed off that she said this. So for her to come out and say that is her bucking the Clintonites. This is her bucking the Clinton end of the party. And she was very political in her response to this, even though it was a lot better than most what other people said. Her response was political. In response to this on November 4th, a whole bunch of Clintonites, full-throated Clintonites, like legit employees, like you have like people that sign on to this fucking Medium article are Huma Abedin, who's Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman, and a whole shitload of bona fide Clintonites. Like, these people work for her, they're loyalists to her. Like, these are the punditry, the staffers, these are the people that are part of Hillary Clinton's campaign in every conceivable way, including, I think, John Podesta right here. These are very important people on this list who agree. They sign their name to this article. And in this article here, they just go on to say that, fuck Donna Brazile. This is fucking Russian propaganda. Like that's their fucking response to this. That's what they respond to this, is that fuck Donna Brazile. This is all Russian propaganda. Hillary Clinton didn't do nothing. And it's a joke because this is how you lose. This is how you continue to lose. And when people on the right tell you that the Democratic Party cannot win with Hillary Clinton there, they're not just saying that from a perspective of 4D chess, where they're trying to have some Machiavellian scheme to eliminate the best means by which the Democrats have to win an election. No, they are actually telling you that Hillary Clinton is incapable of winning elections, and anyone that ties themselves to Hillary Clinton and seeks her endorsement as a politician running, as a Democrat, you are tying yourself to an anchor that is never going to win again. Hillary Clinton, if she came back to New York right now and ran for Senate again, she'd lose. She ran in a primary against Kirsten Gillibrand, she'd lose. Kirsten Gillibrand would win. Even though Kirsten Gillibrand's a joke at this point, she'd beat Hillary Clinton. Because one, Gillibrand actually has some progressive bona fides. She understands the dynamic of identity politics better than Hillary Clinton does, and she is not surrounded by corruption. I would say that Kirsten Gillibrand's cynical and kind of dumb, but she is not so dumb and so arrogant that she would ever in any way make the mistakes that Hillary Clinton made. Kirsten Gillibrand is smarter than Hillary Clinton in that regard, because Hillary Clinton is blinded by arrogance, and she's surrounded by yes men who are paid millions of dollars to tell her yes to everything. So Hillary Clinton is a fucking worthless piece of shit that should go away forever. And once she's gone, nothing of value will have been lost. She's fucking worthless. So we'll blow through a few quick articles here. And we'll start with this one. Let me actually figure out where I was here. No, that's not the one. Here it is. Okay, I'll exit out of that one. Okay. So we'll get through a few small articles here. So the first is an actually decent article that I just wanted to mention. That is an interview from the Hollywood Reporter with Camille Paglia, actually, after Hugh Hefner died. It's actually, you know, if you were to look at like a second generation or whatever it is, feminist, which Camille Paglia is, if you just want to have a good sense of her considerations from a feminist perspective of Hugh Hefner and the issues as she sees it in today's society, I think it's worth reading. It doesn't mean you have to agree with her, but I do think it's interesting to listen to her perspective. I don't know, I won't link it here, but she had a sit down with Jordan Peterson. There was like, it was a YouTube video on Jordan Peterson's channel, and that's another video where I may talk about. I haven't decided yet. But she had a sit down with Jordan Peterson, and she went through a whole series of issues, and Jesus fucking Christ, do they have good chemistry. Jordan Peterson and Camille Paglia, despite their issues with affectation, more so on Camille's side, and Peterson's sort of tangents and that sort of thing, not that I'm, not in any way guilty of that myself, they have their own individual quirkiness, just like many public intellectuals do. If you think of Zizek, for example, Slavoj Zizek very much has obviously he's foreign, so he has an affectation thing, but he also has very weird quirks in how he dresses and his mannerisms, and he's like the most individualistic Marxist you'll ever meet. Oh, I think people give Zizek too much shit. I think he's funny and entertaining at the very least, and he's always worth listening to in many ways. Camille Paglia is the same way, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with her. It's interesting to listen to her. And every few sentences, you'll hear something where you think, "Wow, that's interesting," and it creates an intellectual spark. And I think that's important. I think it's important to find people that, even if you disagree with them or don't agree with generally what they believe or whatever, so long as they're saying things that are provocative and that other people aren't saying, I definitely think they're worth listening to. And with Camille Paglia, I definitely think that even though she has weird affectations, she focuses a little bit too much and she repeats herself and stuff like that. She'll say things, and that Jordan Peterson Hangout is definitely an example of this, where she'll bounce off what someone else is saying and give like a direct response to that. And it's like, wow, that was a fucking good point. And so, yeah, that was definitely a good hangout. I sent it to Sargon. I'm surprised he didn't do anything with it, because it was definitely a fucking awesome listen. I didn't even finish the whole thing. I probably watched like 75% of it, and I was like debating, man, maybe I should do a video on this because it's really good. But, yeah, I just thought this was worth mentioning because it's an interesting take from just the general regressive bullshit you'll see on Hugh Hefner and Playboy after he died. And so, yeah, this is another interesting thing produced by Pew. Pew is one of the rare outlets. Even though I have shown, if any of you follow me on Twitter, you've seen me post this before, Pew does follow the narrative on certain things. It's probably something with the internal culture of the organization, where they know there are issues, where they won't lie, but what they'll do is they'll lie by omission or they'll lie by perspective. They'll present the numbers, but they won't interpret it correctly. I've seen them do this numerous times and numerous issues. They do it on the pay gap all the fucking time. It's terrible. I've seen them, even the one study that I've cited where they talk about the racial disparities, they will intentionally, and you see this in the research, they will intentionally stop talking about Asians when it's convenient for them to do so, because they know that Asians are the outlier that completely disproves any fucking Marxist academics bullshit about, oh, race theory and critical theory and white supremacy and all this shit. Asians disprove all of it. Any fucking Marxist academic that wants to talk to me about white privilege and white structures and everything else that they want to, anytime you want to talk about hard work and that's what they're calling white supremacy, Asians disprove it entirely. And that's why they don't mention it. And so I'm off topic. There's a tangent for you. This is actually a scientific study from Pew that showcases that the media acted as a class during the elections and shit on Trump. So when people say the media was biased against Trump, this is Pew telling you, yes, that's true. I read through this study and I was like, oh my fucking God, you gotta be shitting me. Like, this is Pew outlining that, yes, actually, the press are incredibly fucking negative towards Trump. They're actually biased against him. They personally don't like Trump, and that's why they're shitting on him. And it's different than every other president. They've been more favorable towards certain presidents over other presidents, but on Trump, they are almost entirely fucking negative. And it's because they're biased. So this is just a great study by Pew. I read it and I laughed. I was like, oh my God, this is like Pew just coming out to be like, hello, we're these fucking nerdy intellectuals, and we're just here to tell you that, by the way, the media is fucking biased as shit against Trump. So yeah, thanks for telling us, eggheads. We already knew that, but it's good to have at least the evidence to say so now. So if any of you want to showcase the fact that the press are very clearly and demonstrably against Trump because they have their own biases and can't stand him because of bourgeois social norms, here's your fucking study to prove it. It's literally a study proving that. It's hilarious. So I just thought I'd mention that. Okay, so this is another interesting one. It's another bullshit article. So Thomas Frank is a progressive, and I don't like him. I've listened to many progressives in my time, and I forget the name of the guy that's on RT, but he reminds me of, Thomas Frank reminds me a lot of the guy on RT, in that he's not dumb. I forget the name of the guy, but he looks a lot like him too. Wears glasses, white liberal, older, like 50s, 60s, whatever. He's not dumb, but he is so ensconced in his own bullshit, and he's incapable of understanding anything outside of his own worldview. And he doesn't listen to conservatives. He doesn't reflect on his beliefs. He lies by omission, not intentionally, but because he's a progressive and he can't deal with a cognitive dissonance that's just all throughout progressivism. And he can't understand that the worldview in which he operates on has no principles. This is one of the big things I continue to talk about as it relates to progressives, and it's because it's true. They have no principles. They do not operate on a set of principles. They purely operate on a basis of ideology, where it is not a matter of what is right, what is wrong, what we should be focusing on in terms of principle, in terms of liberal or illiberal or individual or collective. It is just what is convenient for today, what is popular within the Marxist academia today, and that's it. That's it. And I got a showcase, I got an example of that coming up, by the way, to prove what I'm saying true. This is not just me giving a dumb shit opinion. This is actually how progressives operate. So the reason I mentioned this throwaway article is that this is Thomas Frank, who is one of the more intellectual progressives, admitting, he says a liberal, and this is one of the big things. I don't think we're going to be able to do this with conservatives because I think they understand there's too much incentive on their end to keep leftist synonymous with liberal. Obviously, there's going to be conservatives listening to this that listen to my channel that are not in this camp, but I'm talking about the punditry on the right. They understand there's too much weighing on them to continue to conflate liberal with left. Whereas on my side of the left, the fringe of the left that is trying to defeat the progressives, we know that we can win with liberal principles. We can win the majority of the people on the left by actually arguing in favor of liberal principles and egalitarianism. We can win those people over. We can defeat the progressives because we actually are liberal. We actually are egalitarian. We're not actually fucking identitarian, racist, collectivist, fucking ideological, Marxist derivative fucking cock suckers. We're not those people, so we can defeat them. We actually have principles and we stand by them. We can defeat these people. But what this is a rare admission by an intellectual progressive realizing that there is something wrong with their movement. There is something wrong with what he says is liberalism, but is in fact progressivism. There's something wrong. He can't actually understand what it is precisely. He calls it this is a form of liberalism that routinely blends self-righteousness with upper class entitlement. That's partially true. That's partially true. It is bourgeois. It is bourgeois social norms, as I say. That is true, but that isn't liberalism. That isn't liberalism. That's leftism, not liberalism. It's not. This is the issue. This is the separation. This is the distinction that needs to be made. And he actually points out that progressives are fucking sellouts. And yes, the reason is you don't have principles. You fucking retard. You know, this is what I mean. Like, they don't understand it. They think that they can somehow usher in utopia when they have no core. They have no principles that they actually cling to, that are actually something by which they operate. You know, they actually hold to these things as they live, that are essential to their person, not just in their political virtue signaling on Twitter or in fucking, you know, Guardian pieces. It's something they actually hold to as an individual. Because they don't have that, they are incapable of not just selling out. Because it takes a very deep person, an honorable person, somebody that has a core set of principles and focuses on acting ethically. It takes concerted effort to act ethically when someone comes to you and hands you a fucking check. If somebody comes to you and hands you a fucking check and says, all you got to do is keep saying what you're saying, but stay away from the economics. Stay away from the economics in any real way. Go talk about diversity. Go talk about women being the victims of forever and always. Go talk about fucking whites being the fucking bourgeoisie and blacks being the proletariat. Go talk about all that bullshit. Stay away from Wall Street. Stay away from Silicon Valley. Stay away from economics. And more people than not from the progressive movement, they take the fucking check because they have no core. They have no ethics. They have no actual principles as an individual. It's just the ideology. And what they're doing is just squaring the circle. I can get rich and still adhere to my ideology. They can do that. They can do it. You can be a sellout and still be a progressive. That is possible. You can't be a sellout and still be a liberal. It's not possible. Because when push comes to shove, if you're talking about the fundamentals of free speech and a corporation says, well, we're going to eliminate it, and you come out there shilling for the corporation, you're out of the club. You're out. No one's going to take you fucking seriously anymore. You come out there and defend a corporation and get paid to do so, no one's going to fucking defend you. No one's going to listen to you. No one's going to think you're actually principled. Everyone's going to say you're a fucking bot. You're a sellout. You know, you're there sucking the cock of a corporation. No one's going to respect you anymore. But in progressive circles, it can be the best of both worlds. It can still happen. You can take a check from a corporation and not talk about economic issues, avoid them entirely, and talk about bullshit, identity politics, and you can still be perfectly acceptable within progressive circles. Absolutely. I dare debate me. Fucking debate me. You know, I'm 2/3 of the way through this class of fucking vodka. Fucking debate me on the issue. Progressives are fucking sellouts, and nothing about their ideology prevents them from being so. Nothing. They have no core. They have no ethics. They have no fucking principles that they must adhere to. None whatsoever. Debate me on the issue, because if you think I'm wrong, you're fucking wrong. And you're an idiot. So, this is a fucking research that's from Pew that I saw from October that pissed me off. And I was researching this in regards to that fucking video I just did. And this is a study about how Japanese people are less and less favorable towards the United States, but it's not really big. It's small. But they don't really have a lot of confidence in the United States. It's talking about Trump. They don't like Trump and blah, blah, blah. They think Trump's arrogant. He's intolerant. He's dangerous. Some people think he's charismatic and strong leader, whatever. That's not the point. I don't give a shit what Japanese people think of our president in the same way that Japanese people don't give a shit about what I think of Abe. Abe's a fucking corporatist, and good luck. Have fun. When he sells out your national sovereignty, you can suck my dick, because I warned you. So, here's the problem. Japanese people, as we all know, have an incredibly stringent immigration policy. This is one of the things very widely known about Japan. Japan's immigration is very stringent. It's another video that I might do where I talk about the economic effects of that, where there's a labor shortage currently in Japan, and the corporations are having to suck the dick of their employees to not quit. And that's the way things should be in a functional society that's on an economic upswing. You don't flood it with fucking immigrants. You pay people more, you make conditions better, and you treat employees better. That's how you have a functional fucking society. Unlike the United States, where every time there's any economic growth, you just import another million fucking immigrants. So that way, every penny of economic growth goes to the investors. That's our country. That's America. So what I don't like is Japan and Japanese people. And I have some listeners that live there, and this fucking includes you. This fucking includes you too. You're all involved. And I don't care if you are a woman. I don't care if you say you're catching a red eye to come suck my dick. I don't care. This is including you. You are fucking hypocrites. 78%. And this is, so Trump's policies on immigration, climate, trade, widely unpopular in Japan. So if there's one nation on the face of this fucking earth that should have nothing to say about the United States and our immigration policy, it is Japan. You have one of the most stringent fucking immigration policies in the country, or in the world rather. And you're fucking judging us when we are bringing in 1 million fucking economic migrants a year. 1 million a year. And that doesn't include fucking diversity visas and student visas and all the other shit. 1 million a year. And you're telling us that that's something you don't like that we're changing? Fuck you. Fuck you, Japanese people. Fucking hypocrites. Hypocrites. We have one of the most liberal, we practically have open borders in this goddamn country. We have an entire political party at this point advocating for open borders. And you're telling me that you are against Trump because he has a problem with that? That 78% of fucking Japanese people have a problem with that? Are 78% of Japanese people fucking retarded? That's my question. Apparently, we shouldn't bring in Japanese women because apparently 78% of Japanese women are fucking functionally mentally defective. 78% of people Japanese people don't think we should have a border wall between the United States and Mexico. 1, that's none of your fucking business. 2, hypocrites. You're a fucking island. You are a fucking island with stringent fucking immigration laws. And you're judging us because we have a massive fucking issue with illegal immigration. You're judging us. 78% of Japanese people are judging us. Fuck you. Now, on the climate change thing, that's whatever. Trade agreement, 66%. Suck my dick. It's because jobs would have been going to you. It would have been more American jobs going to Japan. So fuck you, Japan. You're already on an economic upswing. I've seen it in countless fucking articles in multiple outlets in Japan, out of Japan, in the UK, in the US. Every fucking article I read is saying that Japan is doing well right now economically. And you're talking to me about, oh, we didn't give you more of our fucking jobs. Fuck you. Fuck you. God damn, you know. You're an advanced economy. Shut up. You know, it's amazing to me how Japan can look at the United States and think, oh, we owe you something. It's not good enough that we unwrite your entire fucking security as a nation. We don't provide your country entirely with national security. We don't already fucking do that. You got to bitch about this kind of shit too. Fuck you. Where the fuck would you be without us? This is the kind of shit that pisses me off. Ingrate fucking people that we have alliances with. Ingrates. Do everything in our power to benefit you as a nation. We've never taken advantage of Japan. Name me one instance where the United States of America has taken advantage of Japan in the way that we've treated other nations, where we've had the CIA do all kinds of shit. Where we've done evil against Japan. Name it. Name the time. Name the time we've done evil against Japan. Where it's not shit, where it's like, oh man, the fucking Japanese are treating the Okinawans poorly. Oh, and that's somehow our fucking fault. That's somehow our fault. Because the Japanese signed a deal. And they have direct control over that area of land. That's our fucking fault somehow. That's the kind of bullshit you hear about. But yeah, this is here. Okay, are you ready? I mean, I'm not sure if any of you can read this. Okay, ready? Ready for the fucking most retarded thing. Introduced tighter restrictions on those entering the United States from Muslim-majority countries. 65% of Japanese people said they disagreed. Okay, you bring in the fucking migrants then. You bring in the fucking refugees. Otherwise, you shut the fuck up, Japanese people. Shut the fuck up. Hypocrites. Hypocrites. You brought in like 4, and one of them murdered some people, and then you kicked them out. So shut up. My God. Biggest, if there aren't even bigger, I mean, the only way you'd ever find bigger hypocrites on the face of this fucking earth is in places like Qatar or Saudi Arabia. That's the only other nations in the world that could ever be bigger hypocrites on this issue. Again, the most stringent immigration in the world. By the way, we're upset you're not bringing in more fucking Muslims to drive trucks apiece through fucking crowds of people in New York City. Fuck you, Japan. Why don't you bring some in? Hypocrite fuckers. Shut up. God, this study, man, it was like, and this isn't Pew's fault, as far as I can tell. This isn't Pew's fault. This is Japanese people who apparently have their head up their ass. You know? You want to talk about Donald Trump going over there and dumping some fish flakes in a fucking pond, koi pond, with Abe? I'd be over there talking about this fucking study. Saying, shut the fuck up, Japan. You have stringent immigration, some of the most notable in the world. You're complaining that we want to build the wall and not bring in terrorists to the nation. Why don't you bring them in then? Why don't you fucking Merkel your country, you fucking hypocrites? God, why don't you complain more about our military and the fact that we're keeping the Chinese from raping your nation? God, man. So when people want to talk to me about, you know, being a weeb and all that shit, no, man, I keeps it real, all right? This, if I was president, this would be a fucking Dave Chappelle sequence of when keeping it real goes wrong, all right? Because this is bullshit. This should be 100% on immigration, on Muslims, and all the rest, because you believe the same thing. You believe the same fucking thing, Japanese people. Otherwise, you'd be bringing them into your nation. Why don't you have a flood of migrants from fucking China or any of the other fucking shithole nations you're near? Why don't you bring them in? Plenty of people want to join your advanced economy, Japan. Why don't you bring them in? Oh, you don't. Because you know they fuck your economy outside of the investors who do well. So shut up. Anyways, let's move on. So let's get back to some serious stories, because the rest of the shit I might get angry about, and I got to calm down. So this was actually a pretty major story that went under the radar in New York City, where there was election fraud. And this is now actually something that is being pursued on a federal level, because the Board of Elections in New York City, in Brooklyn, excuse me, they admit that they purged people from the voting rolls, and it was illegal. So there was massive fraud, at least in Brooklyn. They're not sure how widespread this actually was. So far, there's some serious charges pending in Brooklyn in terms of what happened. But there definitely was election fraud in New York City as it related to the primary that happened in New York State between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. There was fraud that happened, and that this was criminal. This broke the law. And my hope is that they actually pursue charges. Again, you have to kiss the ring of Hillary Clinton to be in politics in New York State, so it's questionable if anything happens. But this was a crime, and this happened. And who can say how far, how widespread this was? We don't know. We don't know whether they got away with anything elsewhere. But this is one of the cases where they're probably going to get away with it because of the fact that it's now 2017 and the election's over and all the rest. But this happened. There is now at least charges pending, and this is definitely federally illegal. They broke federal law by purging people from the voting rolls, and it happened. And guess what? It was in the favor of Hillary Clinton. Surprise. When you find some fraud in favor of Bernie Sanders, you can alert me, but it's almost always in favor of Hillary Clinton, and that's because she's cancer. In other good news, we turn to my nearby city of Buffalo. This is pretty much where I live. And it's a fucking gangland. It's a wasteland. It's nowhere near as bad as fucking Chicago, who's currently at like 500-something shootings this year. The small Brazilian number of 500 shootings this year. And Buffalo is currently having quite a bit of a problem with shootings. And not a whole lot of white shooters and victims. there are a lot of names in here, like Salim McCurb, who was shot in Allen Street. I don't know if you could tell, but this is not a white name, and the guy that shot him is probably not some fucking white supremacist. This is a problem this year in fucking and by the way, it's funny if you look at the map, and there's an even bigger map over here. It is just like you got to understand that like Erie County is a big fucking county. Erie County is like, let me see here. Erie County is like Grand Island is, let's see, where's Grand Island? Grand Island's here. So we're talking like fucking like fucking Erie County's huge. It's a huge part of fucking land. But it's like all the killings are in Buffalo. And it's like you look at the map and it's like, yeah, you drive through this place, you're not gonna have a whole lot of white people here. It's so ridiculous, the statistics in Buffalo of who's being shot, who's pulling the trigger. And in all fairness, the people that are enforcing the law, the people that are protecting people in Buffalo are also probably majority non-white, maybe outside of like detectives and shit, maybe in upper echelon administrators and shit. Like I've met a lot of cops in Buffalo, and there are a lot of black cops, and they very much take this seriously. They very much see the shootings in Buffalo as a problem. And, my hope is that they can clean up the streets, that they can get some of these people off the streets and get them in a fucking cell. Because despite some of the issues that Buffalo has with cops and their corruption and their abuse of people, they do have a fucking tough job. And the shootings are currently down this year, if you look at these statistics. But there's no way. Like, I think they said we're currently at 38. So 38 homicides this year. And it's November, so they only got a month left. But it's going to probably be above 2016, which was 44. We're probably going to go over that. Because right now, again, there was 10 people in the last 2 days that were shot. 10 people shot in the last 2 days. So it's really spiking at the end of the year here. And we're probably not going to reach 2014 levels, when it definitely went up by a huge amount in compared to 2006 when it was 74. But you got to understand that like Buffalo is not that big. It really isn't. Like give you like without traffic, half an hour you're through Buffalo. Like you're out of Buffalo. You're in the southern tier, and it's all fucking suburbs and shit down here. So Buffalo is not big. And so if we had this little cluster of land to have all these fucking shootings, is ridiculous. This should not be happening. You know, this isn't 1991 gangland fucking Buffalo. This is, you know, mundane as shit. They just poured $1 billion of money they gave to contractors they had connections with. They're giving kickbacks to the campaigns. You know, Buffalo is not doing terribly right now economically for the most part. And to have all of these shootings continue to occur, despite the fact that every goddamn street you drive down has 100 cops on it, it's like, this is kind of ridiculous. And one of the things they failed to actually talk about in this article, and I know this from just driving in the area, I've never seen more cops on the street than right now. Never in my life have I seen more cops in Buffalo than right fucking now. There are cops everywhere in Buffalo. And also in Niagara Falls, which currently, I had an article I talked about, Niagara Falls, which is way smaller right here. It's way up. It is a massive fucking spike in violent crime. And also there too, the biggest thing they spend on, the biggest expenditure in Niagara Falls right now, and I can say this for a fact, the biggest expenditure in Niagara Falls, New York, is fucking police. They spend millions of dollars on police, and there's a cop in Niagara Falls on every fucking street. And there's a wave of fucking shootings and violent crime. And it's amazing. It's like, I just don't, and it's up too. It's hitting fucking records in Niagara Falls right now. The violence is fucking, it's like near mob era. Like, we're talking like in the 60s and 50s and shit, near mob era violence. It's insane. And I also live very close to Niagara Falls. So it's fucking crazy, man. It's like every day I'm reading a story about another couple shootings. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's like a cop at every corner. How can you, like, every time you pull a gun, there'd be a cop just saying, hey, what are you doing? It's insane, but it doesn't matter. There can be a cop in every street corner, and yet there's crime everywhere. So when people tell you that, oh, the inner cities are calming down, I don't think so. I think despite the fact that, like, violent crime has lessened and lessened as time has gone on, it's kind of plateaued, in my opinion. And in certain parts of this country, there's definitely a spike. And in Chicago, Detroit, cities like that, it's really bad. But in places where it shouldn't be like this, in places where it's economically getting better, definitely, violent crime is getting out of control. It's just kind of amazing to me. So, don't ever listen to anybody that says, like, you know, violent crime isn't a big issue in inner cities. It's like, no, it is. It definitely is, and it shouldn't be the case. So I have no idea why, but I know that, like, the strategy of, like, putting a cop in every corner is, you know, I'm not going to denigrate the mayors and that doing it and the rest, because it's what they're trying to come up with to do it, and they have huge policing budgets, but it doesn't really seem to be doing much. It's just the cops show up and clean up the bodies. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the cops are trying, and so are the politicians. They're trying, but it's like, it's not stopping the crime. So I don't know if we should move on. So this is another actual story, and I guess we'll just talk about it because it's on the stream. So this, or screen. This is another major story where I actually saw this, and I don't even know if they present the. No, they don't. I was watching the congressional testimony of Twitter, Facebook, and I thought there's another company too. I don't remember what the other company was, if there was one, but I definitely know Twitter and Facebook were represented. And they were talking to Congress, and they were giving the traditional shit like, oh, we're independent and we're nonpartisan, and we're so nonpartisan. We don't fucking, we're not leftist in any way. We don't denigrate the conservatives. We don't monitor, or we don't censor people, all the rest. And what's funny is that in the middle of them testifying about this, and they're just talking about Russian shit, and somebody brings up, and I don't remember who brought this up, somebody brought up the DNC leak. So this was and it says right here in the article, this was the Podesta emails. And this was a major fucking story during the election. This was a major story that WikiLeaks, which puts a lot of shit out through Twitter, they leak this, and this was massive. This was a very fucking big deal. out of all the emails that we got through this, through WikiLeaks, one of the biggest ones was, from my perspective, during the campaign, was when there was an internal email chain talking about Bernie Sanders and strategies against him in the South, and they were attempting to come up with a strategy where they would demagogue the issue of, and they would plant somebody in an audience to give shit to Bernie Sanders about being an atheist. They were going to accuse him of being an atheist, and they were going to use that as a strategy in the South. Now, there may have been some dog whistling to that, maybe. I don't know. But that never followed through. But it definitely was something they were planning to do. That was one of the big things that when I saw it, I definitely was very upset by it, because what this shows you is that they have no scruples. Like, they don't give a shit at all about going after somebody. And granted, you can say that it didn't happen, but you have to accept that this was a chain email and that this was looked at by very high-ranking people. They were aware of this going on, and they didn't come out with some condemnation saying, no, let's not do that. No, this was just flat out spitballing what we can do to fuck Bernie Sanders in the South. And as somebody that's an atheist, I really don't appreciate you trying to demagogue the issue of a guy that isn't a big enough of a Jew to you. Like, he's not Jewish enough. Therefore, you want to slander him as an atheist in the South so that you can dog whistle the Christians to vote for Hillary Clinton. That's unethical. Because again, like, if you're all about the minorities, well, there's a minority for you. If you want to talk about minorities, atheists are a minority in the United States. It's like, I think 3% self-avowed. Double if you take like tacitly atheist people. It's a minority. And yet it's the first thing that comes to mind to you for how to, just abuse people, to take an issue and frame it in a moral light, to say, oh, you're an atheist, aren't you? And that is framing it in a moral light. That is a means to demonize people. And you're going to demonize Bernie Sanders not because of anything he said or his policy or anything else. You're going to demonize him because you want to associate him with being an atheist or with atheism, when in fact he is, from all appearances, a non-practicing Jew. He doesn't appear to be a religious person, but he's a Jew. I mean, anyone that has any real center, any real core, even in politics, you would probably at least say something. You probably at least push back and say, nah, I don't think that'll work. That's a little bit too far. I don't know. I just think that at the very minimum, they should have accepted this. They should have said, yeah, we said that. That was a bad strategy. Whatever. Some kind of admission that they did this, because they got caught. These emails got leaked. They got caught. And anyways, I'm getting off topic. It's the vodka. So in this congressional testimony, they flat out admitted, like, it just came right out of the guy's mouth. I couldn't fucking believe it, that they said flat out from Twitter's representative, they did everything they could to censor the story. They did everything in their power to censor this story. They just flat out admitted it under oath. Okay, under oath to congressmen. Under oath. So if this is a lie, they just perjured themselves in front of Congress by saying that they didn't do what they said they did. But if they're telling the truth, which I absolutely think they did, Twitter actively tried to censor the DNC leaks. They actively tried to censor it. And you could read through all this fucking Russia bullshit. Russia bullshit, as if WikiLeaks has anything to fucking do with Russia. Julian Assange has anything to fucking do with Russia. Any of these emails had anything to fucking do with Russia. But Twitter is censoring this information. And you can make up what you will about why they did it. I think it's for the obvious reason that they're Clintonites. They're in bed with Clinton. You can take a look at Jack Dorsey sitting there with fucking what's-his-face, cocksucker, clean-cut guy in a blue vest. Who, I mean, they're the same guy. they preach all this progressive bullshit, but when, you know, push comes to shove, they endorse Hillary Clinton every fucking time. They endorse the establishment. They endorse the corporatists because they know where their bread is buttered. Jack Dorsey's going to ruin his own platform and effectively has, but in the end, money counts. It isn't just about progressivism. Money counts for something. And they think that in the long run, it stands more to gain for them that they embrace the establishment and do their bidding and do everything in their power to defeat those looking to take them out, like WikiLeaks was obviously doing by releasing this information the way that they did. This was absolutely targeted at the Hillary Clinton campaign to fuck them up. You know, you can say that this was targeted, and I would agree. I would say it's targeted, but I mean, how do you target people with the truth? That's my question to you. How do you target people with the truth? If they were making shit up, then maybe you can have something to say. But WikiLeaks has effectively never printed a fucking lie. They have never produced a document that has been a lie. Everything they've ever leaked has been true. So if people say, oh, this is whatever, it's like, yeah, oh, like they minimize the fact that you're upset by it. It's like, yeah, I'm actually shocked by reading the truth and understanding that Hillary Clinton's campaign was insanely corrupt, insanely hypocritical, Machiavellian as shit, and was doing everything in their power to create a disgusting oligarchy fucking campaign that would have resulted where we had not an oligarch in charge in the sense of Trump, who is an oligarch, but in the sense of Hillary Clinton, who would have been just a toady of the oligarchs. I would say that Hillary Clinton's rich. She's not an oligarch. She's just a toady to the oligarchs. And everything that came out through these emails exposed that. It just said that she is corrupt, she is cancerous, and that she is a toady of the corporate interest. So, yeah, this is very much something insane for them to admit in front of Congress. Because, again, they were under oath in this testimony. So they got no way to get out of this. They either perjured themselves before Congress, which they'll get. I mean, there's Republicans here, so they'll go after Twitter if they say that if they admit they perjured themselves and this isn't true. They'll go after them. But it's amazing to me that they can just admit this and think it's shocking that this only got 400 comments and fucking Breitbart. But this is a big fucking admission for them to make. Okay, so everything else that we got so far is bullshit. It's just funny garbage articles, and I'll leave this up as I check the live chat or whatever to see where we are with that. I apologize if I haven't been my most articulate, but it's been kind of a long day for me. I drove all the way to fucking Syracuse today, which is like 170 miles or 160, I think. It was just terrible. I spent 5 hours today on the road. It sucked. Oh, God. Syracuse isn't that bad of a city, but I fucking hate driving there. Oh, wow, we got a lot of super chats. Greatest pickup line ever, and this is by Hellhammer. Hey, baby, were your parents retarded because you're special? Thanks, Hellhammer, for that pickup line. I'll be sure to use it. Chosen Names says, take some shekels, Lewis. Thank you, sir. Paul Rowe didn't say anything, gave me $2. Mitch says, super Gaijin stream, no whites. Jason says, you are my favorite person to listen to when it comes to righteous anger. Thank you, Jason. Bazinski, who's I think Brazilian, who gives me some Brazilian dollars, I believe, says, wow, look at that list of Clintonites. That's a big future hit list. You know what's insane is that the Clinton kill list or whatever it is, I forget what the conservatives call it, but it's like the list of people that worked for her that are now dead. It's actually really big. I looked at it the one day. I was like, wow, this is actually really big. This is really crazy how many people have worked for Hillary Clinton have died. I forget what it's exactly called, but go look at that sometime. It's insane. Mitch says Camille Paglia is not the norm of second wave femmes. I don't think so either. Camille Paglia, if you look back all the way back to like there's plenty of videos of her being on the panel of Bill Maher's old show before he criticized the Iraq War, or maybe it was the Afghanistan invasion. I think it was the Afghan or the Iraq War. I think it was politically incorrect. She was on there as well, and I don't think Camille Paglia has really changed that much in terms of her beliefs, but I can say that she appears to be a bit more woke than where she was a while back, and she definitely offers some good insights as to some of the real actual social problems we have in the United States. She's surprisingly cogent on that, and she appears to be showcasing some of the clear issues that we have in this society and that we don't really have any answers to. And, you know, she's not really saying she has the exact answers to give, but she's there recognizing them and that they're real problems. And it's like, wow, that's very true. And somebody has to bring it up because the feminists sure aren't. Will May says, build the bridge, China to Japan. Yeah, I mean, if they want to, they can do it at any time. And Chosen Name says open borders for Japan. That's only if they choose to do so. And Bazinski says again for $5 fucking Brazilian dollars, Call of Buffalo Black Ops. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying anyone that's from Buffalo knows this, man, that the cops there are hella diverse. And I don't mean that from like the, you know, West Coast, everyone's white, but we pretend we hired a minority, so therefore we're hella woke, fucking diverse. No, the cops in Buffalo, like, you're hard pressed to come across a squad car that doesn't at least have one non-white fucking person in it. Like, I can't even I talked to a cop the other day in Buffalo about something. Like, they came over and I was talking to them about something because they were looking for somebody, and I was sitting there, and they said, hey, we're going door to door, and we saw you're sitting there. Is anything wrong? And I'm like, no, I'm just an investigator. And they're asking me like, oh, we're looking for this guy. Have you seen him? And you know, I had a conversation with him, and it was a white female officer, and it was actually like she was like really professional, really nice. She seemed to take her job pretty seriously. You know, I had no complaints, and I've had conversations with cops before where they were dickheads to me. That happens every once in a while where I'll deal with a dickhead cop. But you know, I've dealt with the Buffalo PD before, and they're always I have very rarely had a bad interaction, and I've even been let go before for a speeding ticket by a Buffalo cop. It's only happened a couple times ever, and the one time was by a Buffalo cop. He pulled me over, and I said, you know, I came up with an excuse. I lied, or effectively lied, and I said, you know, I was trying to move over from a guy that was tailgating me, so I sped up to get in the right lane. And he's like, yeah, I saw that guy go by. And he goes, yeah, I probably should have pulled him over instead of you. And I was like, hey, it's no big deal. You got to make it. You know, I said, it's a split-second decision. It's not like I'm, you know, going to yell at you or anything or blame you. I said, dude, I was speeding. Like, I'm not going to lie, you know, but I was just trying to get away from the guy because he was tailgating me. He goes, you know, where are you from? And I said, where I'm from. He's like, oh, all right, well, you can just go. I was like, all right, I really appreciate that. And I always say this to cops whenever I get pulled over because it happens every once in a while. And whenever I talk to them, I always say, have a safe shift. And they seem to appreciate that because when I was in security, I dealt with cops all the time. And that was one of the big things that they always seem to like is I tell them have a safe shift because that's one of the biggest concerns if you're a cop, especially in fucking Buffalo at this point. He's getting shot. So if you, you know, thanks for you can say a lot of fucking innocuous shit to a cop, like thank you, you know, whatever. Appreciate your service to the community, blah, blah, blah. That's not really going to resonate with them. But if you tell them, you know, stay safe, have a safe shift, whatever, that seems to resonate pretty well with them. So if you're ever trying to get out of a ticket, keep that in mind. Cops seem to appreciate that, especially in the inner city. All right. So all we have left are stupid fucking articles, as far as I know. And this is one of the fucking dumb ones. And this is a real video. I actually checked it out. This is a real video. and I'm going to wait for the spoiler because there's a real fucking spoiler here. And it's going to justify my argument for the racial merger, despite what I said earlier about Japan. This is the issue that we need to bring Japanese people into America and then Americanize them. That BuzzFeed, a bunch of fucking faggot, betas, did a test. They tested themselves to check out their testosterone levels. And I have no fucking idea why they decided that. It's something to do with malattraction and testosterone levels. And so they basically had these fucking 5 faggots test their testosterone. And listen, I don't know how much testosterone I have. I would say with my levels of anger, I probably have average or higher testosterone. I don't know that, but I'm just going to say that considering the level of anger and how easy it is to come to me. I have to assume that it's not just some pure mental defection on my part, that it actually is testosterone. I would say, I don't know, but they tested themselves, and the average American has 679 testosterone. Like the percentage or whatever the fuck this shit means, whatever that means. And that this is actually, as far as this is a bit low for what men should have or whatever. I'm not a biologist. I could actually have a good friend of mine who is. Maybe I should talk to him about this. But 679 is a bit low on average for men, but it's still technically healthy. But this is the average. And if you look at the guys that took the test, they're way below average. They're way fucking below where they should be in terms of testosterone. And the one guy, and so you look at, okay, you got like white guy, beta white guy, Asian guy, beta white guy, beta white guy, beta white guy. And look at how similar they look too. So you look at this list and you say, okay, you got Ned, Zach, Keith, and Eugene. And you have to ask yourself, out of these 4 fucking guys, this beardo faggot didn't take the test. Out of these 4 fucking manlet faggots right here, which one of these fucking guys is Eugene? Because you got a bunch of fucking faggy white guys and this Asian guy. So who's Eugene? Who has the highest fucking testosterone, which is like half of the fucking average. Half of what the average man has, okay? This is way lower than the average. And I'm not saying this. I think I'm average intelligence generally, maybe a little bit above average intelligence, but I want to say that I'm average testosterone level. That's what I want to say. I don't know this. Maybe I have to have the test to figure out if I'm a beta faggot too. But I'm saying I'm at least saying I'm above 363, okay? So you scroll down and you find out, and here, let me be clear. This also includes older people. And I am not going to talk shit about older people that have lower testosterone, because that's a natural part of aging. Men, as they age, and that actually speaks to why older men have hair problems and all the rest, and working out, and I think muscle building as well. It's a testosterone problem. Also with erectile dysfunction, I believe. I'm not a biologist. Erectile dysfunction, I think, is also a symptom of low testosterone. And so when you get older, having low testosterone is natural for men, and it creates problems for men. And I'm not going to begrudge older men with testosterone problems, because it's a natural part of aging. But if you're a young man, like these guys are not old, okay? These guys are probably a couple years older than me at best, okay? And this is fucking pathetic. So going back to this, who's Eugene? Okay, Eugene is the fucking Asian guy. Eugene is the fucking Asian guy. One, Eugene is not an Asian fucking name. That is like a 4th generation fucking half white, half foo fucking dude. So Eugene is an incredibly fucking white name. It's a waspy as shit name, bro. And fucking the Asian guy is the only guy that would actually squeeze into what is considered normal for men, even though it's incredibly low for normal. Average is 679. He's 363. That's like fucking half. Okay, the half of the average American man at his prime, in his fucking 30s, his late 20s, early 30s, his prime, he's at fucking 363, which is below that of the average fucking 80-year-old, okay? That's incredibly fucking low. This actual article from this, I think it's a right-wing outlet's actually fairly generous towards this Asian guy. This is what I mean by the fucking white Asian merger, okay? In America right now, we have an incredible amount of fucking white men with low testosterone. They can't get their fucking cocks up, okay? Thank God I don't have that fucking problem. I would kill myself. That's going to be my fucking fear when I'm middle-aged and older. It's if I have a non-functioning cock. I'm sorry for anyone who's older listening to this. I fear that day if it ever should come. And these guys are going to have a non-functional cock by 40 if they have one that functions by now. But I'm telling you now that this is the justification for why we need the Asian white merger. It's because fucking white men have low testosterone, and we need to fuck Asian women to get our testosterone up, apparently. Because out of a panel of fucking, and including this fucking faggot in the center, I'm sure if he tested, he'd be no different. Out of these fucking four dudes, these four manlets, the fucking Asian guy has the highest fucking testosterone by like 100 points. By 100 fucking points. He has a higher testosterone count than these other fucking faggots. This is a problem. This is a problem. I see people in the comment section talking right now about how Asians are flat-chested and have flat butts. You need to get the fuck over it, bro. Do you want your child to be a fucking manlet, a fucking, pussy living in San Francisco talking about fucking gender norms in video games? Unless you want your child to be a fucking guy that should be put against the block for the good of this country, you need a fucking Asian today, okay? It's possible. It needs to happen. Like, this needs to be incorporated into the alt-right's agenda, all right? The alt-right needs to take on my position of the racial merger between Asians and whites for the sake of the white race. It's true! It's science, okay? This is the future. And I'm ahead of the curve here, all right? If I ever get into office, goddammit, this is going to be federal fucking policy. We're going to increase the immigration from East Asia to increase the testosterone levels of men in this nation. It has to happen. This is a duty of your country. You can't say that you are in favor of fucking Asian women and also claim yourself to be patriotic, okay? You can't. It's mutually exclusive. You're against fucking Asian women, then you are not a patriot in America. I am setting that standard today. I mean, it's probably a good thing I'm running out of this drink is almost done. Because I'm starting to get a little bit intoxicated. So I'm sure most of you are aware of this, and that's the name of this stream. It's not really about the drink. It's actually about this incident that happened. So most of you heard of this by now, that on a few college campuses and high school campuses, some people that go on 4chan and shit decide to post some signs that said, it's okay to be white. And the reason they did that is to draw out the ire of racists, of people that are distinctly anti-white. This is something that actually is a litmus test. This is actually very smart by the people that did it, because it is a litmus test. It is designed to decide whether someone is an egalitarian or is a racist. And so anyone that sees the sign and says, yeah, it's okay to be white, I don't think people should discern themselves by their skin color. That's stupid. This sign is innocuous. It's whatever. This seems to be a troll. You could look at it and be skeptical about it for a second. You think, oh, I think this is trying to draw out people. And you can just have that viewpoint, and there's nothing wrong. Problem is that this was incredibly effective. And what it did was it drew out all the racists. And I don't give a shit if you are white or whatever. If you're out there talking about, oh, it's not okay to be white and white privilege and all this shit, you're a fucking racist. You know, you're like the black person that's, you know, you're the Uncle Ruckus of fucking white people. You're a fucking racist. You know, you can't tell me that you're out there ripping down these signs and demanding an explanation about whatever, when this is designed to fuck with you. This is designed to draw your ire. And it worked. It did work. So, yeah. I mean, this it was very effective. And I think that if 4chan does want to continue to be effective in their illustrating of the real existence of anti-white bias and anti-white racism in America, this is how you do it. This is effective. This works because it showcases everyone. It outs the people that are racist, that are going to actually discriminate against white people and promote and proselytize race hatred. That's what they're going to do. And that's how we nip this in the bud. I'm not going to do this, but people doing this is how we illustrate that this exists and how it's not acceptable. Because what happens when people do this shit is that you then have to defend it. You come out and you say some bigoted shit, now you got to defend it. Now you got to defend what you just said. Now you got to defend your fucking racism. And it's a lot harder to do once you out yourself. So this was definitely a very effective step to take. I definitely think that this was a good move. And, you know, whoever wants to, you know, engage in this should definitely do it, because I think it brings out the worst in bad people. It really does. You really can figure out who the fucking bad guy is when you do shit like this. So I guess we'll get to this while we're at like the height of the stream, because we're at you know, topping out right now. So I tweeted earlier in the day that progressives, because they have no principles, learn lessons effectively by being the kid who touches a hot stove. I think that's a very direct analogy for how progressives learn lessons. Because they don't actually have any compassion for who they see as their enemies. They see their enemies as evil, and they think that justifies any actions against them. And this was very much an example of where I saw a bunch of different progressives talk about this. And they realized that firing people or having people go after you, and the end result of that, by you politically expressing yourself, is you getting fired, that also can happen to progressives. And that's why it's wrong. It's not because on principle it's wrong, or that this is a means of bourgeois people to attack people economically, to destroy their lives, and do so because they know that that will entirely destroy their life, and they will then have to scramble to get their life back together, because most of us are dependent on our jobs. They don't want to acknowledge that in terms of the principle of it, because they're fucking retarded and they have no principles. But they now realize, in the same sense of a kid touching the burner of a stove and burning their hand, that this is a bad tactic, because it could be done to them. You know, and this is what I mean. Like, you have to be fucking functionally retarded to not get this before this, to not understand that this could be turned against you in a second. And this is what I mean by the retrograde right, is that the regressive left, if they ever fall, all of the tools, all of the tactics, all of the shit they've done are just going to be there for, you know, their equals on the right to just take up. Nothing's going to stop them, because the regressive left never had a principled argument. They just used the tools and said, well, our enemies are Nazis, therefore everything is justified when we act against them. And when the same shit is then done to them, bing, bam, boom, they have no argument against it. They literally have no argument for why this is wrong. They have no argument for why this woman shouldn't lose her job or anything outside of, oh, she's standing up against the fascist government and fucking whatever other nonsense. They have no argument, because none of this is about principle. Absolutely none. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but basically what happened is that last month, Trump's motorcade was driving fuck knows where, and this dumb bitch on a bike flipped off the motorcade. So she went what was it? She's a government contractor. Blah, 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 blah. And the company found out, and it's likely because shut up, Ad. And it's likely because I don't want to start screaming, but I'm just going to highlight this. Briskman has since contacted the American Civil Liberties Union about her case, and according to an interview with the Washington Post, she doesn't regret her actions despite the consequences. So she is going to the American Civil Liberties Union to sue who? Her fucking employer? The people that doxed her? Like, who the fuck are you going to sue? Your company fired you because they didn't like your conduct outside of work. Guess what? Guess how many fucking conservatives that's happened to? Guess how many fucking conservatives that is same fucking thing has happened to? God, I'm not going to start screaming because these people are just fucking retarded. But it's like you guys started this trend. Progressives started this. And now the tactics you created are being used against you. So, you know, I don't know what you want me to do. This is your fucking fault. You know what I mean? Like, this is your fucking fault. You want to know whose fault this is? Look in a fucking mirror and realize this is the side you endorsed. So, fuck her. Have fun unemployed, you fucking dumb cunt. Maybe next time don't be a fucking progressive. Maybe next time actually support free speech. That way this kind of shit doesn't happen to you. Maybe actually stand by some fucking principles. So that way you don't lose your fucking job. Enjoy unemployment, you dumb bitch. This is kind of an old story at this point. This is all the way back in October. The bank that created the stupid statue that stands in front of the bull in New York City. By the way, with the statue's fucking retarded and obviously cynically corporate ideological and all that. It's virtue signaling by a corporation. I think the bull is also faggy as well. I understand what the point was and everything else, but I think the bull's faggy too. So the firm that created this fucking statue and had it put there is actually involved in a very massive lawsuit with the Department of Labor involving, it's like a class action lawsuit involving 300 women that worked for this fucking stupid firm that allege that there are discrepancies in the pay, their bonuses, a bunch of other different shit related to the corporation that funded it. And so this statue was created and put there by a hedge fund group that is embroiled in a multi-million-dollar fucking lawsuit involving all women and discrimination. So this is empty virtue signaling by a fucking Wall Street organization, which is, as I say all the time, Silicon Valley, Wall Street, you know, they are trying to co-opt progressivism, and they are effectively doing it because progressivism has no principles, and they will take the money because there's nothing preventing them from acting unethically. They don't care about ethics. They don't care about objectivity, everything else. And the corporations that are paying for all this shit, they don't care either. They're just trying to get virtue signal points. It's all about money for them. And do they go behind me? Where's my check? Are they going to put a statue up here of me, of my person tipping a fucking fedora at the bull? You know, my fucking me holding a sign or a T-shirt that says that, you know, class arguments are genuine, or some fucking stupid shit of me tipping a fedora at this bull? No, it's not going to be them giving me a check, because if they came to me giving me a check, I tell them to go fucking kill themselves. I tell them to go relive the fucking 1929 crash and jump from the fucking top of the stock exchange. I tell them to kill themselves because I hate them. You know, that would be my response to them. I wouldn't take their money. Whether it's them or Silicon Valley, I tell them to go kill themselves. But progressives will take the check. And this is just another example of these corporations behind the progressives. They're running from something. They're running from something. They have some means by why or for which they're doing what they're doing. We'll get to this one in a second. Okay, we got to that. Okay, so yeah, we'll do the Michelle Obama article. Then we'll do this fucking article from the New York Times is a beaut. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm not sure why the video isn't loading, but this is Michelle Obama just being Michelle Obama. Like, she's such a fucking, like, the problem with Michelle Obama is that she is somebody that could actually be decently intelligent, but she's surrounded by people that just, you know, and yeah, and just say yes to every dumb fucking thing that comes out of her mouth. And that's one of the problems that you have in public life, is that it's impossible on a mainstream level to criticize Michelle Obama. Like, conservatives say whatever they will, but the issue is that most of their criticism doesn't fall into the mainstream of the press or in mainstream media atmosphere. Like you won't have somebody say like, you know, like, yeah, I don't think Michelle Obama is like a bad person or anything, but I don't think she's very intelligent, and the shit that she says is almost always vague nonsense. You know, maybe you can say like, yeah, I support her initiatives to support kids not being fat fucks or whatever. Like, I'm not saying, again, she's a bad person or whatever, but she seems arrogant, and the reason is because she's surrounded by yes men. Everyone around her just nods for every dumb fucking thing that comes out of her mouth. So maybe I'll play this.
Because you're running the world, and I know that's one of the questions. It's like raising our men. We got to. I was talking to my mother about that the other day. Yes. It's like the problem in the world today is we love our boys, and we raise our girls.
Okay, so I'm not too sure if you guys hear that, but she says I think she says it's one of the main problems in the world today is that we love our boys and we raise our girls. Now, I don't know what the fuck that means because I don't deal in vagaries. When I say something, I'm very specific. I don't deal in platitudes and vagaries and truisms because they're meaningless. Now, I don't know what the fuck she means by we love our boys and we raise our girls. But and again, the thing is, like, I don't know what country she's living in. We treat boys and men in this country, especially boys, like shit. You know, who's expected to go fight the wars, Michelle Obama? Who's expected to go die overseas for no fucking reason? Who's expected to fucking pay alimony? Who's expected to work for the rest of their lives and, you know, not bitch every fucking second about how much they're paid? You know, who has zero affirmative action in their favor? You know, maybe you could say that a little bit less about black men or whatever, but even with black men are treated like shit too. It's like, I don't know what, and this is the thing, like, this doesn't reflect reality. In my opinion, whether you are a young boy in elementary school, a young boy in middle school, a young boy or a boy at least in high school, or a young man in college, like, you're treated like shit. You're treated with hostility and as a half-screw fucking mass shooter or a rapist or a criminal. Like, you are treated like absolute shit by everyone, by our institutions. Men are treated terribly. And every goddamn time that there's a case that comes up, or a news story that comes up, or a pundit that's out there on a stage with a microphone in a news story giving an opinion, they're shitting on men and praising women, or complaining about women are the forever and always proletariat. Women are always getting dumped on. Women aren't paid what they're owed. Yada, yada, yada. every fucking pundit you will see, every goddamn news story, every fucking thing is saying how women are mistreated, women are the best and brightest, and men are shit. So this is the thing, like, this is the issue. Like, and this is another big part of, like, a mainstream thing of, like, you don't have any, like, I would be labeled MGTOW, MRA, far right, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not, and I don't associate with any of those fucking labels. I just see reality as it is, and I just reflect what I see. I just say, listen, I see constant demonization of men all the time. All the fucking time in media. All the time. Constant demonization of men. And men treated as just disposable. You're either there to give a woman a check or to provide women a space in employment or to bodyguard her from other men or fucking whatever. You're treated as just purely disposable. And the thing is that the real problem is not that this is a majority of women, but they are influencing women. We can only have so many generations of fucking bitchy, entitled, self-obsessed, just obnoxious, and just unfuckable women. Like, any woman that comes to me and is going to say to me, and thank God, the girlfriends that I've had have largely been apolitical. And that's the thing, is I'm so political now that I don't know if that would be possible if I could have a girlfriend that's not somewhat political. You know, it would be a terrible relationship if we aren't talking about politics to some extent, because I'm obsessed with it. But I could never date somebody that would just have this idea that, like, yeah, men are shit, you know, men are dogs, every woman's a victim. Like, I can understand a woman, like, you know, and I've had conversations about Hollywood and how women are mistreated and all the rest, and that's fine. But the thing is that you can't make every man a perpetrator, and you can't make women the proletariat. It's fundamentally fucking dishonest. It is fundamentally dishonest to do that. And this is constantly the shit that we hear from not just progressives, but this is just mainstream. This is just you'll hear Republicans talk about this. You'll hear Democrats talk about this all the time. You'll hear this is just mainstream, that all men are shit and that women are either the smartest people in the room or they're the proletariat or both. They're the most effective, competent people in society, and yet I need to get them a job. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, I need to get a woman a job application, or I need to write her resume for her, or ask for a raise or some days off or whatever the fuck for her, because women are too incompetent, and yet they're the smartest people in the fucking room. So yeah. People have heard me talk about this. I'm not going to go on a tangent for much longer, but I've met very competent women before, and they don't say this shit. The competent women that I've met in my life do not talk about this bullshit. Multi-millionaire women that run their own businesses, where they basically effectively have a house husband, although they don't really. Their husband, in this case, the woman I met, who's like a multi-millionaire, owns like 5 businesses in Buffalo, super fucking bourgeois and rich, but she's the most charismatic woman I've ever met in my life. The most charismatic woman. She could sweep she could turn you into a fucking dyke. She's straight, but she can turn you into a dyke if you're a woman. That's how charismatic of a woman she is. That's the kind of woman that is effective in business and in the world and in politics and all the rest. And guess what? There are fewer women than men that are like that. There are far more men that are charismatic, confident, all the rest that you need to be effective in the world. There are just fewer women than men. That's all it is. I'm not saying, and this is the thing, no man is saying that they're fucking George Clooney. They have, you know, a 10-inch cock, and they're the most charismatic and competent man in the world. It's just a matter of, listen, you bitching about women does not make women more effective. There are effective women. There are extremely competent women. And by the way, let's say you become the fucking first lady, or you become a female president, or you become a female CEO, or whatever the fuck, you know? Does that mean you're going to be happy? Guess what? A lot of women aren't. A lot of women in the business world, a lot of women in law, medicine, Less so with medicine, probably, and somewhat law, but definitely business and politics. They're not happy. They're not happy. They drop out of those fields because they don't like them. They're not satisfied by those fields. Science, too, probably. I'd have to look at the statistics, but I can tell you for sure business and politics. Women drop out all the time because they're not happy. And it's like with me. I'm not happy doing my job, but I don't have a fucking choice. This is the difference. Like, I don't have the ability to just glom off of my parents or, you know, suck a man's dick and have a life. I have to have a job. And in the case of women, you don't have to. You want to get down to the core of it? A woman doesn't have to have a job. Marry a man, and it doesn't mean it's going to be a good marriage. It doesn't mean the guy is not going to be a piece of shit or whatever. But it does mean that women have a choice in the society. Unless you're working class or poor, you don't have a choice then. But if you're middle class and you're a woman, you're the most privileged people in the society. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You have all the ability to do whatever you want in the world. You could just go traveling for the rest of your life, do nothing. Post images on Instagram. Your fucking bourgeois parents will support you. You know, that's the big difference. And again, this is a class thing. People can say what they want to about me and talking about class. This is a fucking class issue. Bourgeois women never shut the fuck up about this shit. Anyway, fuck this article. You know, we're not going to continue. Fuck her. You know, I'm not going to continue about this. It's the same shit we've heard before. So we're going to read this article about Jill Filipovic from New York Times. So when I talk about women, this is what I'm talking about. In Yiddish, there's this word called vetch. It's kvetch or kvetch, but it's I'm trying to remember how to say pronounce it in a sense. Someone who vetches or kvetches. It's somebody, and this is actually a good definition from dictionary.com. It is chronically complaining, where you just never fucking stop complaining. And the reason I mention this Yiddish slang is to say that is who this person is. This is literally her job. So when we talk about what men do versus what women do, this is literally a career for women. If you want to win awards, be a respected journalist, etc., be a very plain-looking, over-the-hill woman who I wouldn't fuck, and I'm half her age, and she can say whatever she wants to, but guess what? I'll never fuck you. You probably have a problem with that because you're insecure. You are repulsive in every conceivable way, and you are worthless. You contribute nothing. I actively contribute to this society, and many people listening to this, I'm sure, do some kind of job that does actively produce something or contributes to their society. This person is nothing but a fucking waste. They do nothing, they contribute nothing, and all they do all day and night, all their job is, their career is vetching. This is literally their job. This is all they do, is chronically complain. And guess what? It's about how women are the proletariats. That's her job. That is literally what she does. And I know that I'm like overly stressing the point, but you have to understand that this is literally her career. This is all she's ever done. This is her literal fucking career. And guess what? Men don't have this option. Men don't have the option in life to be a bourgeois vetching bitch, where all they do all fucking day is write articles for the New York Times and other fucking dipshit leftist outlets, just complaining, just bitching about the fact that women are forever and always the proletariat. So we're going to read this article, and I'm going to, one, struggle not to laugh or just start yelling, because this article is actually, let me refresh this, get rid of this fucking shit on the bottom. This article is fucking ridiculous. So this is from November 2nd. I started reading this article and I'm like, holy shit, I gotta do this in the fucking Hangout stream because this is ridiculous. ridiculous of a fucking article. So we're gonna read this, okay? Donald Trump is a new kind of old school American. Here, let me zoom in. Okay. Donald Trump is a new kind of old school American man. In some ways, he's a throwback to the days where authority and power were exclusively white and male by definition, when displays of masculine entitlement were overt and unapologetic. But he's also a thoroughly modern man-child, the kind of overgrown adolescent you expect to find on internet forums dedicated to video games or anti-feminism. What's funny is how actually, like, this is actually very true for me, and I didn't support Trump. A tweeter of juvenile threats, a crass name caller, an id unrestrained. I would say that actually is somewhat true about Trump. Trump-style masculinity, in other words, is less John Wayne and more Tucker Marx. So I don't even know who that is. And a revealing insight into American male anxiety. So this is what's beautiful about this fucking article by this stupid cunt is that this is so much about, like, oh, why don't people like feminism? Feminism is just about equality. Feminism cares about man's issues, male issues. They care about MRA issues, blah, blah, blah. But also fuck American men and fuck their anxiety. You're all basement-dwelling, video game-playing virgins, and you probably don't like feminism. And it's like, yeah, like if I wanted to, I could just add anti-feminist to my Twitter profile because I would say that I am an anti-feminist. Because anti-feminism is just an anti-male supremacist cult that is a half-screw communist group. You know, if they were more coherent as an ideology, I'd call them communists. But they're so all over the place and so bourgeois and ridiculous and cult-like that they're closer to a religion than anything else, really. And I've seen many people say that, and I agree. I would say I'm an atheist. That's what I would say. I'm not an anti-feminist. I'll just keep it as it is. I'm an atheist. I'm not part of your fucking dogmatic religious bullshit of you know, trying to oppress men and create a matriarchy in our society of vetching bourgeois women who do nothing and contribute nothing to society. You know, if I want to go meet a white woman that's contributing to society, I'll go talk to that white cop who is incredibly professional that I dealt with just the other day in Buffalo. That's where I'll deal with somebody who's a white woman actually contributing to society, not on the fucking New York Times where it's just another bitching over the hill fucking white woman who does nothing, and that's her career. American manhood is reshaping itself in two opposing directions: soy boys and non-faggots. I'm not even sure what soy boys are, but that seems to be the new cuck, you know, the new denigration, and that's fine. And both archetypes are ones we've never seen before. If Barack Obama embodied the new ideal of the progressive man, a hands-on dad and a self-identified feminist who orders drone strikes and kills American citizens illegally and unconstitutionally, but it's never raised in any conceivable way by any court ever because it's a direct challenge to any of the programs that we currently have in multiple ways that exist extrajudicially and outside the Constitution. Oh, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. A hands-on dad and a self-identified corporatist feminist married to a high-achieving woman. What the fuck has fucking Michelle Obama ever done besides marry a fucking ambitious man who was once his boss? What? He was a professor. She worked at the fucking college he worked at? That doesn't sound right. Who is also well-mannered and protective of his family. Okay, there's a fucking woman who's protective of her family. Wow, that's something unique. Wow, I better go tell my mom. Hey, Mom, did you know that Michelle Obama's protective of her husband and family? She's going to be blown away. She's like, wow, that's different from me. I just told your father to go fuck himself, and you can fuck right off, too. I don't want to talk to you. A woman who's protective of her family. Or no, I guess this is talking about him. What? Okay, whatever. then Mr. Trump is his antithesis, an old school chauvinist. I would say Trump is somewhat chauvinist, embracing a new code of adolescent anarchy. I don't know what that means. He is a paradigm of feckless male entitlement, embracing male power while abdicating the traditional masculine requirement. Oh my fucking God. Okay, well, I already said that I don't want to start screaming, so I'm not going to start screaming. Okay, so we're going to restart this sentence, and I apologize, but you have to understand that I'm trying to contain myself here. He is a paradigm of feckless male entitlement, embracing male power while abdicating the traditional masculine requirements of chivalry, courtesy, and responsibility. So, as it relates to men being chivalrous, men being courteous, and men taking responsibility, if you want to understand who destroyed those things, look no further than second generation or second wave and third wave feminism. Okay? American conservatives did not destroy chivalry. American conservatives did not destroy courtesy. American conservatives did not destroy men taking responsibility. Feminism did that. So if you want to say that you are now coming out as a white female conservative that's embracing the traditional gender norms and all the rest of this shit, then by all means do that. You're coming out as a tradcon. But no, this is the problem. You're having your cake and eating it too. And no one is this is the thing. You freed men. You freed men. Men are now able to be feckless and irresponsible, discourteous, and unchivalrous. You have freed men to act in any way that they so choose, and now you're trying to use your social power to demonize them, to not only have where women can act however the fuck they wish, but also men have to act as they did once upon a time. And that's not the way things should be. That's fundamentally unjust. And guess what? It's never going to fucking work. You have taken the lid or uncorked this genie bottle. The genie's out of the fucking bottle, and it ain't going back. It's not going back. Maybe we can have some, we can return to some sense of men taking personal responsibility, men being courteous generally, not to women, because I refuse. I will treat women as my equal, and that means I'm going to call any guy a faggot or a cocksucker, and I'm going to call a woman a faggot, a cocksucker, a cocksucker almost, a cocksucker, or a cunt. I'm going to call a woman that because it's equality. Welcome to equality. You got what you wanted, but you also want everything else too. And you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Suck my dick, you dumb fucking over-the-hill cunt. You're not going to get my chivalry. You're not going to get my courtesy. You're not going to get any responsibility, and I have to take none. You're entitled to none from me because you destroyed it. You destroyed this. Feminism did this. This is the outcome that you produced. So fuck you. Almost a year ago, he won the presidential election by presenting this version of aggrieved manhood in opposition to Hillary Clinton's hand-raising Hermione Granger feminism. I mean, yes. I mean, not Hermione Granger, but fucking Emma Watson feminism. Corporatist, globalist, collectivist, just hypocritical bourgeois feminism. Absolutely. It's very much equivalent. Hermione Granger, I mean, she was kind of a cunt in the books and in the movies, but like, I'm not sure what this has to do outside of the fact that you've only read one fucking fictional book ever. White American men loved it. Yeah, and they left the Democratic Party in droves and overwhelmingly voted for fucking Trump. So rather than berating men more, which doesn't work, by the way, you stupid bitch, why don't you try actually making a persuasive argument to try to win their vote? This is one of the big things about feminism, is that no one cares anymore. Okay? White men have left the party in droves. I'm one of the only white men in this country, practically, that's still a registered Democrat. It is astronomical how many white men in the last election voted for Trump. It is unbelievable. People wrote entire articles about this. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. You can shit on white men all you want, but guess what? They're just going to keep voting Republican, and then guess what? They're going to completely turn the tables on you and fuck you. And I'm not a conservative. I'm very picky about any Republican that I'd ever vote for, or even conservative. I'd rather vote for a principled conservative than a Republican, honestly. I think most conservatives would say the same. But this is your fucking fault. This is the country you people help stack up and make. You are the mainstream. You're here writing. You're not writing for some blog. You're writing for the New York Times. All right. I'm pretty sure they printed this fucking piece of shit in their print as well. The printed actual newspaper. I'm pretty sure this was in there. If I looked, I'm pretty, because it's the Sunday edition, and it's thick as shit for anyone that's ever been a subscriber. It's thick. A lot of these op-eds go in there. So they printed this shit. And you're out here berating white men. It's like, yeah, guess what? It's the demographic you need to win, you dumb fucks. You have all the white women you could ever get. Half of white women in America are conservative or lean conservative. Guess what? You maxed out on white women. You need white men. You're not going to get them with this kind of fucking rhetoric. Fucking retards. This happened while in homes across America, the Obama model of manhood has increasingly taken root. Yeah, in fucking San Francisco. And what is the Obama model of manhood? You know, selling out, being a Wall Street toady, fucking creating 7 wars that don't really have any end in sight. We aren't winning. Outside of what he did with ISIS, that seems to be effective. Trump carried on and changed some things, and we seem to be defeating ISIS. Okay, there's one fucking war against the international terror group. One of the ones we're fighting where we're winning. We only got 7 more that we're currently engaged in, not including whatever the fuck's going on in Africa. Obama's such a great president. God damn. Yes, yes, powerful men do abuse their positions to extract sexual services from women, or to remind us that no matter how mighty or successful we are, we can be reduced to simple objects of predatory male sexuality. That is your feminist lens and Marxist lens coming to that conclusion. Men, as like, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world are, to some degree, doing what you say they are doing. To some degree, they are using their powers, their powerful positions, to extract sex because they're pathetic. They're fat, ugly, weak men that don't know how. And I can't really say that I'm like some savant, but I don't have to beg women for sex. I don't have to use power to get sex. I don't have to do that. I'm not a weakling. I'm not that kind of fucking ridiculous, pathetic pussy. And like, you can't have it both ways. Like, it's not American conservatives that are extracting sex. American conservatives seem to be doing okay and getting laid. Maybe not every American conservative, but the ones in power and the big names and all the rest, and the pundits and all the rest, being masculine, being macho and all the rest, which is what a lot of conservatives like to try to make about their movement, they don't have a problem with getting sex. You know, soy boy, SoCal faggots, they're the ones that have to fucking do this kind of PUA shit to get women. All right? It's not masculine men that have to do this. So it could happen that you have a powerful, well-built, confident man extracting sex out of women, but even there, they're not there objectifying women or whatever other Marxist shit you want to talk about. And you even have the balls to talk about Harvey Weinstein. You know, it's like, it's a debate between whether you realize you're a fucking liar, or you are just so ensconced in your own ideology that you're incapable of any self-reflection. But whatever, let's move on. The past few weeks have been a stark reminder these abuses don't fall along partisan lines, with Harvey Weinstein revelations and the stories across industries and continents still unfolding in their wake. Yeah, it's not just the fact that it's not just partisan. It's not just that Harvey Weinstein was a partisan Democrat. There are plenty of partisan Democrats that aren't fucking, abusing women. It's the fact that he was supporting women and talking about women and all pumping up women, just like fucking Joss Whedon, who's another one of these fucking cocksuckers. The whole time he's like completely abusive towards his wife and having affairs and shit, and all the while propping himself up as this martyr for feminism. This is the kind of shit we're talking about. Like, I don't have to do this. Conservatives don't do this. They don't prop themselves up as the moral guardians, at least in this sense, and then do this kind of shit as it relates to feminism. Male feminists do. Male feminists do. They do this. Not anti-feminists, where you start this by ranting about anti-feminist video game players and all this shit, gamer fucking in their basements. They're not doing this. Male feminists are doing this. So suck my dick. It's the male feminists that are abusing women. And until it's otherwise, until you have gamers coming out of their basements to abuse women, blow me. You can fuck right off. I probably shouldn't have moved because now I don't remember where I am. Anyways, we're skipping the rest of this. Most men also continue to fall short when it comes to household responsibility. Oh my God, this is what I mean by bitching. This is vetching. This is what I mean. And men still tend to out-earn women. Yeah, because they're too busy working a hard job, working more hours than women, and taking care of household responsibilities. They're doing everything. Why can't it be that just women do nothing and men do everything? This is my question. But in much of America, men and women's lives look more similar than they ever have. Women do more work for pay. That's not true. And men do more care work than they previously have done. That, as far as I know, is true because women have entered the workplace. By the way, that's bad economically. My grandfather could support an entire family, two kids, a wife with new cars, a house he built himself. He had tons of savings. My grandfather actually did very well in terms of being working class. He may have been middle class in his day and age, but he did fairly fucking well. And he worked at a factory. He had a high school education. He did very well. And in my family, both of my parents had to work. And when my father was out of work, it was very financially tight for several years in my household. And it's not because, my father was a bum or my mother's lazy. It's because they were tapped out and there was a recession and my father couldn't get work. He was a tradesman. Like, he had to work odd jobs. He became a trucker for a while, but this is the thing. Like, they just don't have any respect for this economic position. They don't care about class. They don't care about economics. Really, they don't care about the issue of when you flood the workplace with employees, that then you have, if you flood the trades, construction, electrical work, everything. If you flood the labor pool with cheap labor, if there's a recession, it devastates working class tradesmen, because then you're going to have contractors and construction companies going for cheap labor, going for illegals, going for non-union. And guess what? That takes food off of the table of my family. People can say whatever they want to about union laborers or whatever the fuck else. It's like you in that case, you are taking food off the table of my family. And it's funny because one of the protests that happened in my area that I remember was this hotel that was built. And it's just amazing to me of just the pure cynicism of the companies in these instances, because there was this hotel that was going to be built in my area where they were desperately trying to avoid getting a union contract. And so the construction unions, including like the, plumbing, pipe fitters, electric, and construction, protested the site. And one of the things they kept saying over and over and over again is that they were building this site and it wasn't up to code, and they were completely operating outside the boundaries of what is acceptable safety concerns and all the rest. They made it. They didn't make it about how they're union and about how they're entitled or whatever the fuck. It was the fact that it was not being built well. It was not being built safely, and that they have no regard for their employees. They have no regard for the people working on the site. And it was, my father went to one of the protests, and the next day after that strike, or not the strike, but the protest, that there was an immediate accident at the site. A guy fell 5 stories and died. And they shut down the site for one day, just clean up the guts, and it was open the next day. And that site, I think, I don't want to say it had like a dozen accidents, because I don't think it was that strong, but it had close to a dozen accidents where you had all these cheap, disposable laborers working on the site, and it's been renovated twice. And then it happened in like 2008. It's been renovated twice. And that's what happens when you build something in a shoddy manner, use cheap disposable labor to do it, and you take the food off of the table of families like my own. So, that's the thing, is that as far as I know, when my father's worked, I'd have to go ask him. I don't remember him once talking about coming home and saying that one guy ever in any instance fell 5 stories and died at a job site. I know that there have been guys that have gotten injured. I don't know any that have died on the job site. And that just happened. Like they did the protest, next day guy fucking dies. And that was one of the things they cited. So, that's what I mean. Like the ability to collectively bargain is not just about, people being deadbeats or entitled or anything. It's being able to work in earn a decent wage, work in a safe environment, and actually construct a quality building. And the corporations and the investors don't give a shit about any of that. They just want it built, and they want to maximize their profits. So, you need to, if you are one of the people in the comment section complaining about unions, you need to stop sucking the dick of corporations that don't give a shit about you and see you as either a walking wallet or a disposable laborer. Because that is just about every corporation, and that is just about every single investor. So anyways, blah blah blah. Kvetching. Feminists insist that women. Feminists have insisted that women and men alike can and should embody the characteristics we positively associate with both masculinity from a feminist lens: power, respect, dependability. I don't frame men as inherently powerful, but okay, whatever your Marxist lens tells you. Respect, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Maybe honorable, and dependable. Dependable for a check, definitely. And femininity, caregiving, devotion. In a country with over 50% divorce rate, devotion and compassion. Compassion I'll accept as a characteristic of femininity, and I will divert everyone to go talk to Jason or is it Jason Peterson? I'm blanking on his fucking name. Pro Peter Pan. That's not what I. Oh man, I am Jordan Peterson, not Jason Peterson. Jason Peterson. Many of our lives have crept into its closer ideal. Whatever. To Mr. Trump and many of his increasingly nihilistic supporters. Nihilistic supporters. That's a $2 word. $2 word for a 2-bit whore. Oh, nihilistic. Please. This is a threat to their fantasy of masculinity. We could have guessed, I'm going to put down this pen, that men who believe in gender equality would do more housework than men with conservative views. And it's not news that white conservative men overwhelmingly vote Republican. Yeah, and that's in the last election. It's never always been true that white men universally vote for Republican. That's not always been true. Like, it's been a majority Republican for it maybe as long as I've been alive, but it's changed radically as years have gone on, and it continues to get even worse as elections gone on, staggeringly so. And again, you can go look at the articles that I've shown in the past and articles written by mainstream outlets that say, like, holy shit, white men are practically voting as a voting bloc at this point. And it's like, yeah, that's insane. And it wasn't like this within my lifetime. You know, in the 90s, it wasn't like this. So I can only credit fucking feminists and progressives for that fact, that white men have abandoned the Democratic Party. I can only blame feminists and progressives for their fucking bigotry. What is different from generations before is that many of the men making up Mr. Trump's base are less attached to the institutions that offer respect and required responsibility. Unions, church, marriage, school. Yes and no. I mean, church, yes, but that's general. That's the general trajectory of the country that's becoming less religious. Marriage, that's your answer for everything. You don't even believe in marriage. You believe marriage to be inherently patriarchal. So fuck off. School, I don't even know what that means. Are you talking about having affirmative action in schooling to make it less female dominated? I don't fucking think so. And unions, blow me. You have no regard for unions outside of fucking gender diversity fucking nonsense. It's very... I have met more female road workers than I have met any kind of other tradesman. Or, I mean, it's not even a trade, but it's like I don't know if I've ever met a female plumber, if I've ever met I've met a female construction worker. I've never met a female electrician. I've never met a female, like, someone in AC or pipe fitting or plumbing. I've never met a single woman in that trade. I've hung around my father my entire life. He's a tradesman. He hangs around with plenty of fucking tradesmen himself. Never met a single woman. I've met one, maybe max 2 construction workers that are women. Max. So unions are male dominated and are always going to be male dominated because women aren't interested in hard work, or that kind of hard work. They're interested in grueling mental work. They'll take stressful jobs in that sense. They're not interested in physically demanding work. I'm not either. I'm not saying that I'm any better. I'm just saying that like it's staggering, the fucking statistics for how few women want to take those kind of jobs. So fucking get over it. You know, you might as well talk about fucking nursing if you're talking about unions, or teaching unions, which are fucking worthless. Even independent living in the face of women's success at the expense of men most often. Many of them have fallen behind on adult obligations and fallen back to back on misogyny. Oh God! See, this is equality. I mean, you fucking named it at the beginning of this fucking article. This is what you want. You want me to be chivalrous. You want me to be courteous to you as a woman. You want me to bear full responsibility, even if you are an idiot, a career vetching cunt who is worthless. You want me to treat you well and to be chivalrous to you and take responsibility for your missteps in life. I'm not going to. This is what you destroyed. You destroyed this. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with equality. I'm not a traditional conservative. I'm fine with being in an egalitarian society where men and women are treated equal, but you're not. That's the problem. And that's what you label misogyny. It's you getting your cake. You know, it's me shoving your cake in your fucking face, saying, here you go, eat it, bitch. Eat it, bitch. You wanted this cake. Here you go, bitch. Here it is. You got what you wanted. Because if you treat me like shit, if you treat men like shit, we're going to treat you like shit right back. without any qualifier, without any consideration for you being a woman. We're not going to do it because you've defeated this notion of men and women being different. You've defeated it. It's dead. It's over. It's a select group of people in this country at this point that believe that men and women are distinctly different, and they would approach it from a traditional conservative sense. Like, you can say, you have like people say that, oh, men and women are different biologically. You know, would you say, oh, does that make women less able? And they go, no, I think women are perfectly able, and men and women are equal generally. And they would take that egalitarian standpoint. They wouldn't have the traditional standpoint of, well, women should stay out of this, women should do that, women should stick to what they're good at, etc., which is a more traditional standpoint. That's not egalitarian. And would you think that they would be fine with that, these fucking people? No. This is what they want. They got what they wanted, but they don't get both. You know? This is what you want, and you got it. And I don't think we should go back. You know, it's just time for you to shut the fuck up. Get over it. You're getting treated the same as I would treat a man. So cry about that fact like you would, because you're a woman. Many of these men now seek community online. That is true. Mr. Trump knows how to speak to them. I don't think he does. And adopted the modern man-child's medium. I think she means Twitter. Oh, yeah. When he tweets insults about the stature of those who challenge him, little Bob Corker, little Marco Rubio. See, she should have gone for Jeb. Jeb was, I didn't really think that Donald Trump was, I mean, maybe if you're a conservative, you think he was very effective. I thought he was really effective on Jeb. I think he was brutal on fucking Jeb. Not just emasculating his tormentors by suggesting that manly authority is tied to height. Well, the thing is that you don't want to be a small man. And I'm not that tall, but I can tell you that I've run into small men in life, but I do not envy them, man. Like, short man syndrome is a real thing, and I'm not talking shit about that because I would dread being like 5'5", 5'4", 5'6". Like, it's not good. Because I was in a store the other day, and I think I got gas, and I went inside to get like a tea or something. And I got to the counter, and there's a guy in front of me, and he was probably like at most 5'5". And I was looking at him like, fuck me. He was like 50 years old. I was like, God damn, I would hate to be that short. God, it's so embarrassing. And funny, the clerk was like 6'1". And I mean, he's taller than me. I'm only 5'10". But the guy just fucking dwarfed him. And I was like, man, I'm sure if that was me, I'd be insecure about it. I'm sure I would be. So, yeah. And again, I'm not talking shit about that guy. Maybe that guy's perfectly confident. But I'm just saying that if that was me, I'd have problems with it. You know, it'd be a lot harder for me to be in any way confident if I was that short. Anyways, he was also bald, by the way, which doesn't help. That's the only thing I'll go to my grave having a full head of hair. I have the strongest hairline imaginable. I got Irish hairline, man. My hairline goes directly off my forehead and onto my fucking chest. And down the back of my neck and onto my fucking back. Thankfully, it's not too bad on my back. But I have Irish hairline, and it is indestructible. It goes beyond age. I'm not too sure how true for those of you that are Irish, but I find that to be very true. That if you're very Irish, your hairline is like, it's like alien strong. Maybe that's how fucking so many. That's how the Irish spread in America so far and wide. That's how we got all the Protestant women, was the fucking hairline. Wasn't height. I'll tell you that about Irish men. It wasn't height. But it may have been the hairline. Anyways, where the fuck was I? His tormentors by suggesting manly authority is tied to height, although he's doing that. I don't even know. I know Trump's somewhat tall. I don't know if he's super tall. I think he's only like 6'1", 6'2". Maybe he's taller than that. I don't remember. He's also kind of fat, though, so I don't know. You can't talk too much shit about body because he's kind of fat. He's adopting the ad hominem rhetorical tactics that are a staple of angry men on Twitter. No, this is a staple of men. This is not angry men on Twitter and Reddit. This is men. Men tease each other all the time for physical shit. This is just men. So you can, and by the way, women do this as well. They just do it passively aggressively. With men, they'll do it directly and they'll mock people. And some of the time, not all the time, there are people that joke that do mean what they say, that I've found at least. And some I found that once in a while that if you deal with somebody, especially if you're in high school setting, I'll say, because I don't want to get in trouble or seem crazy, but if you deal with somebody who's messing with you and they're doing so on a frequent enough basis, they're probably not teasing you. They're probably directly challenging you, especially if they do it in front of other people. That may be somebody you need to punch in the face because that defeats their jokes fairly quickly. And like, again, it doesn't mean that if somebody, messes with you a little bit or, gives you some shit or teases you, it doesn't mean they aren't being friendly. But if they do it to you over the period of months, let's say, they're probably just fucking with you. And you should just take it that way, I've found. But in this case, it's a man thing. It's what men do. And again, this is a feminist unable to understand men or even ask a man. Just go up to a random man on the street and say, is this something you see on Twitter and Reddit? And they would just be like, and it would be any man. It would be an 18-year-old. It'd be a 28-year-old. It'd be a 48-year-old. It'd be a 68-year-old. It'd be an 88-year-old. That would just say, what are you fucking talking about? This is just how men act. What do you mean Reddit and Twitter? What are you talking about? Men give each other shit for stuff like this all the time. And you should go, oh, this isn't adhering to my feminist bourgeois social norms. And it's like, yeah, no one cares. Men don't care about your bourgeois social norms. Male feminists want to rape you. They care about your bourgeois social norms. Average men don't care. Normal men, functioning men, confident men, men who contribute to society don't care about any of the shit you're complaining about. Trump is 6'3". That's pretty tall. There's a lot of tall men in politics. Fucking LBJ was like a fucking behemoth. Let me look that up real quick. LBJ height. There's like a bunch of famous photos of him like intimidating. 6'4", bro. Fucking LBJ was a fucking Goliath. There's several famous photos of him. I almost spelled white. Yeah, see, there's like a ton of these different photos exactly like this. He did this kind of shit all the time where he would invade, like again, right here, he would invade people's spaces and he would just fucking get in there. Like he'd WWE them. He would just do that shit all the fucking time. I read a book, I forget which book it was, but it was talking about like politics in the past and how particular presidents acted. And this was something that LBJ was famous for, that he would intimidate people using those kind of tactics. He would get intentionally close to you and then lean in. And so you naturally either step back or lean back. And it's him actually using a physical feature to his advantage. It's actually really brilliant. But this is the kind of guy that gets into politics. This is the guy that is successful in politics. It's a guy that understands just the natural and Trump does this too, by the way. Trump does do this. It is maybe not psychology. I forget what it is, what you would call this, but it is something discernible. And Jordan Peterson has talked about this as well, that this is something that people do. It's using body language and using physicality to intimidate people and to puff yourself up and seem more competent and confident. And this kind of, if you are able to do this kind of thing, you are very effective in politics. And also JFK was also another one that was really good at this. And one of the big things that people talk about, especially of an older generation, is there was a debate. And let me see if I can find it. There was a debate between JFK and Nixon where it's actually said, and this was one of the first televised debates, and I think this may be it right here, where Nixon looked bad. Nixon was sweating. He kept touching his face. He actually, it's said that on the grounds of the policy, he actually won the debate. That JFK was actually far less substantive. But JFK, because of people who watched this debate, spiked in the fucking polls. He did very well in the fucking polls. And it's because he knew how to carry himself. And Nixon didn't. So body language and the way that you present yourself and physicality is very influential in politics. And especially in the older generations. So, yeah, I just thought I'd talk about that. And so when Trump, what he's complaining about it's true for every goddamn president. This is true for every fucking president. And it has been since the inception of the country. You know, there's never been a president in this country who has not understood the nature of politics, has not understood the act of persuasion and of using physicality, using body language, and using your appearance to the maximum effect in persuading people. This is just natural to politics. So you're decrying something that is never, ever going to fucking change. But this is what you'd expect from a fucking Marxist, from a feminist. You know, you would expect them to be complaining about shit like this and demeaning it and deriding it. When no, all he did was violate your bourgeois social norms and do so effectively. That's what you're complaining about. Trump came out firing both barrels, and he kicked the shit out of every Republican that he went against. Every Republican he went against, he defeated terribly. Not one Republican. I can't think of another Republican that actually stood up to him and did so effectively. I can't think of one. Somebody says in the comment section that JFK was a garbage president. I would say that he wasn't very good, and that he's very much propped up because of the fact that he was assassinated. But I wouldn't say that he was wholly incompetent. I wouldn't say that. We didn't really, after the Second World War, we really got a lot of bad presidents that weren't very effective. LBJ, you can credit for a lot of bad things. Truman didn't do everything right. Eisenhower didn't do everything right. JFK did not do everything right. LBJ definitely did not do a lot of things right. It was super fucking unpopular eventually. There have been a lot of fucking bad presidents. You could just go down the line. I mean, like, oh man, going LBJ, you go to all the way to just go ahead to Carter, include Nixon, Carter, Ford. Just go down the line. Like, can you name a single president since the Second World War that hasn't had major? I mean, Reagan especially. The thing I love about conservatives, or I guess maybe a certain kind of conservative, is how much shit they credit Reagan for, but how terrible of a president Reagan was. How unbelievably terrible Reagan was. There is so much shit about Reagan's presidency that is just terrible. And he's just treated as a living god. And it's like, okay. Anyways, I guess we'll move on. I'm really on a tangent. Today, young women are more likely to attend college and graduate college than young men, while young men are more likely to live with their parents. It's not only student loan debt that's driving them home. Economic shifts that have decreased employment in blue-collar jobs. That's actually not true. Blue-collar is actually doing okay right now, as far as I know. It's just a lack of people joining it. There's a lot of people joining the white-collar sector. There's a lot less men joining blue-collar jobs, and I'm included in that. But increased opportunity in female-dominated sectors have had a psychic as well as financial impact. What? Economic shifts that have decreased employment in blue-collar jobs but increased opportunity in female-dominated sectors have had a psychic as well as financial impact. I have literally no idea what she means by that. I don't know if it's the vodka or whether it's literally she just is completely fucking incoherent, because I literally don't know what she means. Care jobs or service jobs? What the fuck are care jobs? Are not jobs men are generally willing to take. Do you mean like nursing? I know men that are nurses. It's just not male dominated. In part because of the depressed pay, but also because of the social constraints. Nursing, elder care, and child care are women's work. I don't know how many of you have ever dealt with old people. I have taken care of old people, or taken care of children. I have. I've never been a nurse. I would never want to be a nurse. You can never pay me enough to be a nurse. You can never pay me enough to take care of old people. The only time I ever want to deal with, taking care of children is taking care of any that I may have with a wife. I don't like taking care of children. I don't like dealing with old people. I don't like nursing. Like, I am not a very empathetic person. I am not a very compassionate person. Like, I have a finite amount of compassion. Otherwise, I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with their problems. I don't want to deal with what they're going through. I don't want to listen to their sob story. I don't want to deal with the fact that they're injured or dying or any of that shit. I don't want to deal with any of that. You cannot pay me enough to get me in those fields, period. And guess what? Men are attracted to high-paying work, but they're not attracted to this kind of work. If you paid a lot of money, maybe more men would join this work. But the fact is that you can offer women a lot less, and they will join these careers. They will become, nurses and assistants to dentists and all this shit. Like, women go into the medical field, and it's just natural. It's just naturally female dominated. Same with kindergartner teachers and shit. All right. So if you want more men to join these fields, pay more, and fucking create incentives targeting men. I know schools that do that for teachers, that target male teachers. I know that they have affirmative action in incentives for male teachers. I know this because a friend of mine teaches, and that happened to him in the inner city schools. They targeted him because he was a man. And, fuck, what do you want me to do? I'm fucking against affirmative action. I don't give a shit what people do. I just want to maximize wages for laborers. That's what I want to do. But I don't hear you talking about that. I just hear you talking about how this is having a psychic reaction. Am I fucking reading this wrong? Am I wigging out? This is... Yeah, what the fuck do you mean by psychic? I feel like I'm retarded, but no, it's the goddamn author. What the fuck do you mean by psychic? A desire to reclaim the psychic masculinity. What does this mean? It's like I'm reading somebody that writes in English as a second language. What the fuck do you mean by psychic? This psychic masculinity is why Mr. Trump fetishizes a specific and specifically what? Because the only kind of chauvinist man is a fucking white man. How many fucking... I have met some very, very fucking chauvinist black men. So don't even make this racial, bitch. I have met some black men that treat women like shit. So you want to make this racial? Let's go ahead. Let's go talk to some Hispanic and fucking black men. You could tell me about fucking chauvinism, you cunt. Kind of rough-hued American maleness while embodied in an oh my God, envy-inducing lack of obligation. The white working men of Trump's speeches have the kind of dirty fingernail jobs so revered in American imagination. In coal miners, firefighters, what? Revered auto workers. In real life, more Trump voters work in cubicles and in coal mines. I don't think that's true. I don't think, like, there is definitely a portion of Trump's voter base that is bourgeois as shit, even though they don't want to say so. They definitely are middle-class white collar workers. So you're not wrong, but more so than working class, I'm pretty sure that just based on the numbers, that's fucking false. But more in cubicles and coal mines, yeah. The coal industry is barely existent at this point. So yeah, that's true, because we live in a service economy. Congratulations. It pays terribly and is surrounded by fucking women that never stop complaining. But the point was never Mr. Trump's understanding of reality. It was his grasp of white male aspiration and identity. The dangerous grounds you tread, you stupid bitch. Like, you and Richard Spencer are both on board with a white identity. It's just like you feel guilty about it. You wish the white identity didn't exist, or maybe it was just innocuous. You know, it will always exist, and therefore it will exist, and therefore we should accept the white identity as you say it. But it's just how it should be presented. What should be the white identity? That's the real problem with you. You fucking communist fucking bitch. Mr. Trump's own life and actions paint an appealing picture of masculine entitlement for those who want power without the shackles of responsibility. You're the one that removed the shackles. For Christ's sake. This is not about fucking Trump taking the shackles off of men. And the only way he's liberating men is from the fucking social oppression of feminists. This is not just the responsibility of men taking responsibility for their own actions. This is the social oppression of feminists that do things like, of just the article that I just mentioned before, try to drive men out of their careers and jobs for just expressing an opinion that doesn't exactly fall within the framework of progressivism or feminism. If it strays just an iota out of those boundaries, you try to get them out of their jobs. That is social oppression. That is oppression. I dare someone to tell me that trying to destroy the livelihood of a working class man is not oppression. When it's done specifically for political reasons, that's not oppression. Find somebody to debate me on that issue, because it absolutely is. It is definably, demonstrably oppression. He may not be the smartest or most qualified guy in just about any room. I would agree. I would say so. He's not. I wouldn't say he's particularly intelligent. He knows how to work a room, but that doesn't mean you're smart. Qualified depends on what you're talking about. But I would just say articulate. You can't just say you consider him inarticulate. You can't just say that. You got to be fucking ridiculous about it. But his money allowed him to marry and reproduce with a succession of models. Star in a reality television show. Again, this whole thing about marriage, guess what? You're not in favor of fucking monogamy. So shut up. Live in vulgar, gold-plated glory. Again, it's up to him. Like, say whatever offensive thing danced through his brain and still make a successful run for president. Yeah, he became the president. It wasn't a run for president. He is president. It was a plus that in the 3 Trump marriages, there have been no power couple partnerships of equals, just because Mr. Trump on the Howard Stern show talking about his wife's breasts and bragging that he never changed a diaper. I mean, the never change the diaper thing, that definitely depends on, that's definitely, I would say, a class thing more so than a male thing. But talking about his wife's breasts, he's on the Howard Stern show. I'm sure that Howard drew that out of him because that's what Howard does, at least when he did in his prime. Again, this is just pure bourgeois social norms. Like he went on the Howard Stern show, a shock jock show, and wasn't a fucking Puritan and a feminist. It's like, yeah, it's because he's not either of those things. Most American men are unable to actually achieve this level of authority minus the accountability. As a result, admiration for men like Mr. Trump gets paired with the, if I can't have it, no one can nihilism. That's not true. Like, not only is this an incoherent statement, but like, it's just not true. This is not a nihilistic fucking, like, people actually thought positively of Trump. This wasn't, we're going to destroy the country, we're going to spike the election. Maybe some people thought that way, but I met plenty enough Trump supporters that actually saw Trump as a positive move for the country, and they thought he was going to move forward legislation, policy that was going to directly impact them in a positive way. That is not nihilism. It's nihilism if you're a fucking retard Marxist feminist. White male power remains a dominant force in America, and it always fucking will from your lens. We could live in a country of nothing but white women, and you'd still claim this fucking shit. But it is no longer, because we'll have white conservative women. But it is no longer the only force that matters for many fucking soy boys. This is not a leveling of the playing field, but a plundering of what it was rightly theirs. Whatever. Resentful of the changing order of things, some men have simply learned and leaned into chaos. Leaned into chaos. What? I don't know if this author is just shit or I don't think I'm that intoxicated. If the system no longer serves them, it will at least be fun to blow it all up. Yeah, again, some people think this. Some fucking people think this, and it's not necessarily from a gendered perspective. Which is exactly why the old rules of political engagement don't work with Mr. Trump or his base. Yeah, or the majority of Americans, I would say. Hillary Clinton may have won more votes, but she should have won this election. I mean, that was the thing I was screaming about during election night when I was streaming with Sargon. I was screaming this at the top of my lungs, that she should have won, but because of people like this stupid cunt, Jill Fivapovac, Trump won and Hillary Clinton lost. This is her fucking fault. This is your fault. This is the fault of feminists. You did this. You made this bed, and now we're all laying in it together, and I'm just the one saying, fuck it, I don't care if Trump's president so long as Hillary Clinton, all you fuckers are on your way out because you're all cancer. You're all hypocrites, and you're cancer. The president is a perfect figurehead for this bizarre moment, a man who carries all the negative characteristics of a stereotypical masculinity while adopting almost none of the virtues, occupying the most powerful and exclusively male seat of power in the nation and perhaps the world. Well, that definitely depends on your perspective on this. But I love how all of a sudden, now that Obama's out of the presidency, that it's the fucking dictatorial seat that we need to control, and perhaps the world. That's only from the perspective if you agree that America is the hegemon of the world. This is the only way that the presidency of the United States makes any sense from the world perspective, is if we're the hegemon. So I'm glad that you and I are on the same page. You're just a fucking liar about it. Who ascended in large part because a yawning fear of female power kept one of the best qualified candidates in history out of our office. Oh, Hillary, she just can't catch a break. He is ego unchecked, unlike Hillary Clinton. Narcissism, unlike Hillary Clinton. in place of dignity, unlike fucking Hillary Clinton. In 1961 essay for Vogue, Joan Didion wrote that people with self-respect have the courage of their mistakes. They know the price of things. The piece went on to say that, in brief, people with self-respect exhibit a certain toughness, a kind of moral nerve. Oh, Jesus. They display what once called Oh. Again, like, I don't know. Are people bored? Like, should I just stop doing this? Should I just stop? Should I literally just stop reading this shit? Because, I mean, okay, we're almost done. I'll just finish this. Character, she wrote, is the willingness to act responsibly for one's own life. Talk to Hillary fucking Clinton, who is a lying, corrupt oligarch and toady for oligarchs, who sold out her own nation at every opportunity she could do so, who is insanely corrupt and enriched herself while in government by being corrupt, destroyed the Democratic Party effectively, and cheated the only actual decent person who ran against her. She cheated him. And we know so based on evidence that has come out through of email leaks and people that have come forward, insiders, including Donna Brazil. Like, Hillary Clinton is the least fucking honorable, she has the least character, the least integrity out of anyone, even including Trump, who is not a saint. She has no character whatsoever. She is an empty, vacuous shell that will do anything to get money and to achieve power. And she fucking lost because of that. So, like, you have no ground to stand on. I mean, you just mentioned Hillary Clinton and then talk about this, about character. Again, it's like, are you so fucking deluded that you can't see this? Or are you just a complete liar, a propagandist? Oh God, fuck off. Our current president, who can't accept responsibility, oh my fucking God, for his own social media use. What about cheating people out of an election? What about being a fucking corrupt, lying piece of shit who has scandals at every fucking instance about her own actions? What about her accepting responsibility? It seems to me that Hillary Clinton blamed literally fucking everyone and everything other than herself for her election loss. Literally everything and everyone but herself for losing the 2016 election. And you're sitting here bitching that Donald Trump doesn't accept responsibilities for his own actions or social media use. Are you fucking this stupid? Or so much of a liar? Anyways, or admit that an all-cap tweets might suggest that he's angry about the continuing criminal investigations and low poll numbers and blah, 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 blah. I have no fact that he's probably going to win a second term. Mr. Trump has ushered in a fresh era of noxious manhood wherein bullying is conflated with toughness. Are you seriously going to say to me that Donald Trump bullied Hillary Clinton or bullied Jeb Bush and not make me fucking laugh out loud? Donald Trump doesn't have a fucking list of dead people associated with him, by the way. And self-interest is more important than self-respect, whatever that fucking means. Nice platitude. But all is not lost. Every generation believes it is uniquely observing diminishing standards of behavior, even while by most measures life improves. I would say that by the numbers, there's a lot. I mean, technologically, my generation is doing very well compared to the past. But I would say economically, my generation is doing very bad. And that's not by lack of effort. I know that it's very popular to just say that every fucking millennial is a latte sipping communist, but that's definitely not fucking true. I would say there's a lot of millennials working very fucking hard, and we're not entitled to anything, and we're not being given anything for our generation. I think a lot of us bought into the scam of college, and we're starting off at a half step, and it's going to take a while to try to live a better life than our parents. And again, like I took out the loans. I signed the dotted line. I took the loans. Many of us took the loans. Many of us made the bad decision to go to college. You know, we are responsible for our bad choices. But I mean, I'm not going to say that I wasn't propagandized from fucking birth to the second I signed the line to go to college. Every step of the way, I was propagandized to go to college. And that's what I did. And I got a worthless piece of paper, too, in fact. I got 2 pieces of worthless paper. So, yeah, I made that decision. I went, but I was propagandized too. When I was about to graduate high school, I wanted to join the military. I had 4 friends that were joining the military who wanted me to join. I wanted to join the military. I was berated by, especially my mother, and by when I went to do admissions I started in community college. I got berated by the person like, "Oh, you want to join the military? You should just join college." Blah blah blah. You know, this is definitely the career path you want to go. And I got talked out of joining the military. I would have joined the army. I would have joined the army if it weren't for the fact that I was propagandized for years to join college, and I went to college instead, and I regret it. It was a bad decision. So, and that's what a lot of the reason I raised that is because a lot of millennials fell for the same fucking scam. And while again, I have to pay the bills, you know what I mean? But it's our mistake, and a lot of us made it, so we're gonna have to fucking make up for that. Anyways, life improves. Plenty of American men are doing exactly the opposite of Mr. Trump and embracing the more productive characteristics of masculinity while rejecting the malicious ones. Being a male feminist who just is very, very low key about wanting to rape women and using pickup artist tactics on women. I love that so much about like all these different male feminists that are like, oh man, I'm such a new male, blah blah blah, and it's just like, by the way, I engage in pickup artist tactics while trying to like I neg women, which means like you basically give a politically worded insult to make a girl feel less confident about herself. So therefore, I can then like leech onto her and try to provide her like actual confidence. Like I provide a woman confidence by slowly degrading her confidence by using like very low key insults. And there are male feminists that fucking do that kind of shit, or the guy that just go like a girl gets in the shower and then he gets in the shower with her. It's like, that's a fucking pickup artist tactic. You're putting pressure on her to have sex with you by just walking into the shower. It's not just awkwardness. That's a fucking tactic. And I would never dream of fucking doing that kind of shit. Oh, I'm just a male feminist ally and friends with you. By the way, I'm going to get in a shower with you naked. I would never fucking do that. Never. I would, if I did that, okay, and this is true for everyone involved in this stream, okay? If you were a fucking straight male listening to this, okay? If you were to do something like that, it would be with a girl that you have overtly made clear. And I'm not saying like you do the fucking, you know, oh, can I kiss you shit? But I mean like you make it clear to her that you are interested sexually in her. You are interested romantically with her, or you already are dating. And then it's like a power move. You are at her house or she's at your house. She's in your shower and maybe you've had sex already or you're wherever you are romantically. And then you do that as a power move or as some romantic gesture. Then it makes sense. Then it actually makes sense. But when it's like, no, I'm just a friend, I'm a male ally, and then you get in the shower with her, bro, that is not awkwardness. That is a fucking tactic. That is a pickup artist tactic. I'm telling you. Anyways, all in the virtues of self-respect, tough. Okay, hold on. Hold the fuck on. Hold on. I know we're going way too long. I gotta stop streaming. I gotta go do this my report and go to bed. I am gonna pull up this article. Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to read the sentence, and then I'm just going to drop this fucking article. Ready? Okay. Every generation believes in its unique observing diminishing standards of behavior, even while by most measures life improves. Plenty of American men are doing exactly the opposite of Mr. Trump and embracing the most productive characteristic of masculinity while rejecting the malicious ones and the virtues of self-respect, toughness. Oh, let me get this really big. See it. Okay, really big. Okay, ready? This is toughness. Okay, again, going down to okay. This is the average 80-year-old male, 471 whatever the fuck testosterone. 471, the average fucking 80-year-old. These are the fucking male feminist allies. The tough allies of feminist women. Fucking, like, infant levels of fucking testosterone. And you wonder why they're fucking negging you and trying to rape you. God, toughness. Toughness without testosterone. You don't need testosterone to be tough in new America, new male America. Oh, God. Oh, God, it's so funny. Just, that'll never not be funny. Again, like, maybe at some point I can figure out how you measure testosterone, and I'll measure my own. And we'll see if I'm a fucking new male myself, if I'm a soy boy myself. But I'm telling you, with my levels of anger and excitement, I'm telling you that I am not a soy boy. I am not a soy boy. I have somewhere near the average fucking testosterone level. I am not a Bay Area fucking new male. God damn it, I am not. I'm gonna prove so eventually. Moral nerve and character spare me. Male character like fucking Harvey Weinstein, for instance, have never been, unlike the presidency, male only business. So clever, Jill. Whatever the fuck. Where's your? I want to find your Twitter. Yeah, I want to find your Twitter. I know you have one. Every fucking writer for this shithole outlet has a fucking Twitter. I'm gonna fucking let's find you. I'm gonna find you online. I'm gonna play some video games and find your. Oh, I knew it. Oh shit. Oh shit. Ooh. Is this the same shit? Oh yeah, this is the same chick. Hang on. Right here. Oh god, I gotta think of something fucking clever to say. I had something, but I don't like. I needed it to be clever. I don't want to be too East Africa or Brooklyn. What the fuck? Oh, you may also like Jessica Valenti. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, like I stumbled onto the Americans version of fucking Jessica Valenti. Oh god. This bitch is gonna kill me. I gotta go back to the fucking chat. Oh, somebody give me fucking something funny to say. I'm not getting anything. It's chat frozen. Is everyone stopped watching the stream? Is that's what happened? Black dicks? No. I want something fucking funny to send her. I wouldn't even rape you. That's what I'm gonna send her. That's what I'm gonna send her. I'm a tough, respectful. Hold on, let me find the line that I don't even know. Tough, respectful, and characterful new male ally. Oh God. I might get banned for this. I really hope I don't get banned from fucking Twitter for doing this. Hold on, let me look at. This is what I wrote. Oh God. I can't even show my own Twitter feed because there's just a ton of fucking porn on it right now. I don't know what's going on with the one account I follow, but it's just tweeting out porn nonstop at this point. Some of it's pretty fucking good. It's got some fucking straight up Yuri porn in there. There's some good fucking shit in there. But I can't fucking show you guys it. So let's finish this stream out. I'll leave this as the image. And I will check my social media to see if anybody sent me anything. I think that nearly killed me. Somebody just sent me something on Gab. I'll have to check that video out. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'll keep it on my screen. I know that Graham sent me something. I'll open it and take a look at it. Graham. Oh no. This fucking bitch who keeps sending me shit keeps sending me shit on Twitter. I don't care. Fuck off, bitch. All right. Yeah, let me check super chats. Hang on there. We got to finish this up though, because I got to finish that report. Graham says check the hate speech story. I can't do it today, man, but I'll take a look at it. Android sexual revolution when? That's by Paul. Bazinski says your constructive biology stream hit the nail on the head in relation to this. Can't wait for women to step off the podium to stop a toxic gender dynamic. I mean, yeah, that's the thing is if you're referencing the one where I talk about like the sex bot thing, and I've talked about this more than once, so I honestly can't remember what I said, but that's the issue, is that women want their cake, want to have their cake and eat it too. That is the issue. Like, they literally want to have it both ways, and they're not going to have it. It's not going to happen, and it's not happening currently. So that's the thing. Like, it's not even just women. I mean, yeah, you can say generally there is a problem with women in this country wanting it both ways. I would say that for most women that is true. They have that issue. But they're not just ridiculous and dogmatic about it, thankfully. And if that ever got to that point, you'd see the sex robot industry spike, and that would be it. It would kill the entire issue because women would have no choice. They would have to literally come crawling back. They would have no choice at that point. Brzezinski says, thanks for all the support. I'm not sure how much of these Brazilian dollars are worth, bro, but thanks anyways. Louis, you should learn Chinese word baizu in a stream. Also check out the novel We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. Inspired 1984 massively. Jim Harold says, what are your thoughts on the New York State Constitutional Convention vote tomorrow? I haven't really paid much attention to it. I know that the one part of it, at least, is like they want to open up some ability to do something in regards to unions, and it seems to be like a corporatist push, and I wouldn't say that I'm in favor of that. So I'll likely vote no, because I don't really like a lot of big changes, especially when it's not an issue. Like, New York State does not have an issue with unions. It does definitely have issues, but unions are not one of them. If it is, it's the unions that are committing fraud and getting away with it. And I can tell you for one thing, it's not labor unions doing that. Dale says, when did you consider it a good time to go to college? Love your content. I would say what I'm going to do, at least for, let's say I have children, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, when they graduate, let's say you have a kid, I don't care, guy or girl, And I say, okay, listen, you're going to graduate. You need to decide right now what you want to do. Do you want to go to college? And if you do so, what do you want to do specifically and why? And if they can't answer those questions, it's going to be, okay, you're joining the workforce. You can join the private sector. You can go join the military. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But you're not going to, I mean, you can go to college, but you're not living at my house. I'm not paying for any of it. I'm not doing it because I did the same thing and I got fucked. So you're an idiot if you graduate out of college, you have no idea what you want to do, and you go. That's stupid. Join the workforce and, you know, struggle there. And if you come to a conclusion, say, hey, I want to become an accountant. I want to become a biologist. I want to become a doctor. I want to become a lawyer. I want to do whatever. Or you decide you don't want to go to college, you know, do whatever. Just don't spend tens of thousands and potentially hundreds of thousands for, you know, waffling your way through and you don't know what you want to do. And maybe you come out with a degree that's worth a shit at the end. It's just not worth it. Baczynski says again, hey girl, my respect for you is inversely proportional to my testosterone levels. Ryan Gosling. I'm not 100% by what you mean by that, but I think I get the joke. So let me refresh that to make sure I got through all that. Okay, yeah, that's all the super chats. So we'll I'll conclude this. I think I fucked up my voice by laughing so hard. We'll finish this up. I'll answer 2 questions, and then we'll finish this stream. So I'll exit off of this. Stop presenting. Let me stop presenting myself to you, you rapist. Oh God. Anyways, yeah, let me answer a couple questions and then we'll finish this stream. So 2 questions and then this is over. It's not much of a real question. I don't like Coldplay, but whatever. It's not a real question. I've already talked about Ayn Rand before. Do I like Nakamura's, which are the body pillows? I guess. I don't own any. I don't really have an issue with them. Maybe they're cringy if you see people in public with them. I can imagine having one in public, ironically, to fuck with people. I think that would be funny. Since Islam and social justice are both cancer, do you think we're going to end up with Islam plus? No, they're always going. Islam is far too intelligent to get cucked by progressivism. They're way too crafty for that. Do I like butt mouse pads? Not especially. They don't really seem to be very effective. Do you think the Japanese public opinion of Trump is evidence of Japanese CNN fake news? I have no idea. I can't say whether Japanese people are being swayed by fake news or whatever. I just know that their opinions on our immigration policies are about as hypocritical as you can fucking get. What was your story about vandalism from the Boomer ad? I'm not sure what you mean by that. How do you feel about Teddy over other monopoly breaking presidents? I mean, obviously, any president, I mean, a bunch of presidents did bust up monopolies that were way smaller than the ones we have now. Way smaller. There was a bunch of presidents that did do that. And it used to be a common thing for presidents of that era was to break up trusts, break up monopolies. It's just something that doesn't happen anymore. There's just constant fucking mergers. Have I seen the Lauren stream? You mean Lauren Southern? What about her? I watched that red pill. I'm surprised no one's asking me about the red pill chick. That was a big news story the other day, and she did a stream with Matt Christensen and Blonde. There's another YouTuber. That was pretty fucking cringy. Very much like, oh man, I got, kids, you better watch out because on Tuesday, man, I'm bringing the fucking hard evidence. But it's like, yeah, but it doesn't really sound like you're addressing a whole lot here. She definitely comes across as very disingenuous to me. After this, man, I'm gonna tell you what, kids, I'm not dealing with those fucking skeptics anymore, man. They're no good. But meanwhile, I'm over here bullshitting. Destiny was on Lauren Southern's stream. Oh, Jesus. Real? Somebody's got to go. Somebody go on Twitter right now and link me to that shit right now. If Medicare came on Lauren Southern's stream and fucked with Destiny, somebody's got to link me that right now. That's some crazy shit. Monopoly is the worst board game of all time. Actually, hold on. Can I mute you? You're going in timeout. Monopoly is one of the best board games that has ever been made. Anyone that says otherwise is going in fucking timeout. I've only heard Doki Doki Literature Club by name. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, somebody link me that on Twitter. Somebody link me that on Twitter. I gotta see that fucking stream. Okay, I got it. So thank you, Humble Degenerate. Thanks for that link. I will definitely check that out when I work on my report. I might just skip through whatever bullshit debate they have because I fucking hate Destiny. He's a terrible debater. But fuck, dude, Mr. Medicare, dude. Mr. Medicare's not even that good of a debater, but dude, he just knows how to fucking mess with somebody so bad. Oh God. Mr. Medicare's so good. I hope to someday have a stream with Jim. That'd be great. I don't even know what we'd really talk about. Him and I don't even think him and I really operate on the same wavelength, and that's not like any denigration to him. But I definitely think I would enjoy a stream with him. I think it'd be great. It'd probably be better, more so on my part than his, but I think that'd be fun as shit. I love Taco Liquor. You're always coming in here doing, trying to be the shit store, but you don't go all the way. You don't go all out, Taco Liquor. No, I don't have time. I don't have time. Dude, are you telling me he just randomly shows up and fucks with him? Oh man, that's so funny. I gotta watch that. All right. I'll take one more question and then I'm gonna end this debate. I'm glad that a lot of you guys hung out for the full fucking thing. But here, somebody linked it to me. I'll link it on in chat for you guys. Apparently he comes on at the tail end. But oh shit.
And we're live.
Sorry. I'll link this to you guys. I don't have he comes in like at the hour 20-minute mark. That's when I'm being linked. But yeah, there's the link. But yeah, I'll definitely watch that. I'll probably skip most of the debate, like I said, because Jim, dude, is just he just shits on Destiny so hard. He goofed? Oh, we goofed him up. Okay, I thought you said he goofed. Did he flip out? Did he fucking have like an autistic fit of rage? That would be amazing. Although I don't think Destiny ever had an autistic fit of rage in the same degree that he did with Sargon. He flipped the fuck out after talking with Sargon. I think Sargon triggered Destiny the most. Maybe does he have open DMs? He definitely doesn't follow me. But I'll see, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll send him like an email or something. See if he wants to do something. That'd be great. Not Destiny. Jim. Destiny has already offered to debate me twice, and both times I'd said no. I don't want to quote unquote debate Destiny because he's a completely dishonest actor. I'm not gonna fucking debate somebody that is a wholly disingenuous and irritating, dishonest person. Like the thing is, I'm not Jim. That's the thing. Like anytime Jim wants to just fuck with him, he can do so and it's effective. I can't do that. You know, I can't do that. So I'll debate somebody that I know, or at least I have to assume is going to be an honest actor. But I know I've watched at least 4 or 5 Destiny debates. Every single fucking time he's acted as a dishonest actor, and I'm not risking that. I'm not risking my name winding up on some leftist outlet, and they look into me and they trying to find out my name and all the rest. I'm not risking that. Anyways, let's get one more debate. Or debate. One more question, then we'll be done. Oh man, Graham, you're fucking hyping it up, bro. You're hyping it really hard. I'll have to go watch it. I'll link it again for anyone that didn't see the link. Here's the link to that debate. So one more question, we'll wrap this up. Give me one more question. Incest is wincest. I don't know what you mean by Brahms. Why don't I like thick girls? Because I'm not sexually attracted to thick girls. It's not like I'm against girls that are proportionally, gifted in terms of breasts and buttocks. But it's not like but like, it depends. Like, cause I would say that when it comes to quote unquote thick, it just seems to be an excuse for like why I like fat girls. And it's like, why can't you just say that like I like chubby girls? Just say you like chubby girls, because I don't. The girlfriends I've had have been just regular. They haven't been particularly chubby. They haven't been particularly like overly thin, overly in shape, or anything. It's just average. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a girl that's just average. But I don't like girls with disgusting fat cellulite asses and massive I'm gonna have back problems in 20 years tits. Like, I'm not sure how many of you have actually seen a 40-year-old or a 45-year-old woman who has massive tits. They look disgusting half the time. Women either age like wine or like fucking milk. So take your chances. But I'm just saying that I don't want women that are thick, because thick very easily turns to fat. Sure, there's a difference. You can lie all you like. Jesus Christ. Can we get one fucking, just end the stream? Give me one question to end this fucking stream. Jesus. Why do white women turn more into milk than wine? I don't know. I don't really know to the degree that that's true. I know that it seems to be with Asian women, it's closer to wine than milk. That's like a stereotype in Asia. Favorite philosopher? I would probably say Socrates, just because I think he talked about some of the more fundamental things, and it was in a very, and he did so in that he lived his philosophy. I mean, I think that's a lot different than even like Nietzsche, who, didn't. I mean, he. Again, it's just having a philosophy and living by it are two different things. And you have people like Marx, who's a good example of someone who's a living hypocrite and a philosopher. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that, including with Ayn Rand. There's also some aspect to her that was hypocritical. But there's a lot of philosophers that are hypocrites, but I think that one of the only ones that was never peddling fucking utopian bullshit that I liked a lot was Socrates. I think Socrates was definitely a philosopher to take very seriously and have a lot of respect for. because there's very few philosophers that died for you know, defending what they believed was right, and very evidently so. What personal principle do you hold to? This is actually a decent. Leave it to the one conservative that listens to me that asks me an actual hard question. What personal principle do you hold to that is hardest for you to stick to? What all have those that have never met our own standards for? We all have those things that we never meet our own standards for. That's definitely a good question, Tim. I honestly, I can't come. It doesn't come to mind immediately. I can definitely think of what my faults are, but I don't know if it would necessarily like contradict a personal principle that I would openly espouse. Like I would say, like working hard, maybe, because I procrastinate a lot, but I don't think of hard work as a principle that I espouse just as like it's not really like an argument of a principle. It's just like a standard for oneself, like maybe even if a worst, a character judgment. But I don't do that. I don't make a character judgment against people that don't necessarily work hard. I just say that, well, if you don't make a lot of money and you're not a billionaire, then maybe it has to do with how hard you're working. You know, that's not necessarily a principle, but principle that I don't adhere to, at least, or I wish I did more so. I don't know. I'm honestly trying to think of something. I mean, anyone in the comment section, shout it out if you know it, because it's not as though that I'm distinctly trying to avoid addressing, you know, a contradiction in my own belief system or whatever. That's the thing. Like, I just don't know if I'm aware of it or not. Oop, I got a fucking Mr. Medicare tweet, and then I'll take a look at it. Yeah, shout it out if you know it. I don't. Oh, that dead link. That was Gab in the background. So yeah, Tim, I mean, that's a good question, Tim, but unfortunately, like, I don't know if I have an answer to that. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there is something. I'm sure that there is something that exists that I'm just not cognizant of immediately. But I'm sure if you gave me enough time to think about it and to just like basically sit down, lay out my principles, and then like look at them and then think to myself, okay, what here have I violated in the past? What here do I struggle with? And maybe then I would be able to say, okay, maybe this, but I don't know offhand what it would be, because the only times that I'm ever really flippant about like my principles and what I believe is just by basically saying that I do. For example, the girl that got fired for flipping off Trump's motorcade. Okay, now if a principled position would be, I don't think she should be fired for expressing a political view. I'm sorry whoever sent me that link, but I'm gonna X off a Gab because you're fucking up my stream. A principled position would be that she shouldn't be fired because she's expressing a political opinion in the most basic form of flipping off a motorcade while off duty. She's not working. In my opinion, it's a violation of her free speech to fire her for that reason, because it has nothing to do with her employment. But I'm flippant about that. But the reason is, and I don't see it as a direct violation of my principles, because all I'm doing is just relaying the fact that I don't care, because this is the principle that in the position that progressives have pushed, that have erected. This is the problem they created. This is a standard and a tactic they started and made mainstream. They did this, and now it's being used against them. So when I'm asked for my opinion, it's obviously I don't support it, but it's just a matter of I don't care, because this is you getting this is you lying in your own bed and having to deal with it, because I would never do this. I've been arguing since the beginning that this is wrong. I've never, wavered from that position ever. I think that this is intentionally a tactic. As I said when I talked about it, this is an intentional tactic used by bourgeois people against the working class, or people that they perceive to be working class, intentionally, because they know that it will devastate their lives. This is a malicious tactic, and it is inherently fucking malicious, if you ask me. So it's not even just the violation of someone's free speech rights. It's also that this is a class issue, in my opinion, and it's obviously so. So that would be where I would say that I would violate, or seemingly violate, my principles, or fail to adhere to them to the best of my ability, would be if I took every issue seriously, then I would just say, well, blah, 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 this is bad because of this reasons, this is what should be done instead. But I'm flippant about it, and I just say, well, fuck her. Because, again, it's just you lying in your own bed. Progressives created this tactic. Now it's being used against you. Fuck you. You created it. Now you got to live by it. Because, again, progressives now have no answer for why it's wrong. Because that's their standard. So, yeah, I would say that that's probably one of my shortcomings, is if I wasn't so vengeful, maybe I would take it seriously and just say this is wrong, here's why, progressives shouldn't do this, whatever, but I don't care because this is their fault. And so I just make it a cheap hit against them. But I appreciate the question. Appreciate you guys staying here for so long and giving me some of that money. And like I said before, be sure to subscribe to me on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to me on Gab. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube. Be sure to donate to my Patreon and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications, because some people have complained they haven't been able to see my videos in their subscription feed. Go enjoy that stream that I sent you, and thanks for stopping by and making this a lively stream. And enjoy the rest of your night. Fuck the fucking chat, you fucking nigger!